Chapter 490. Luo Xing was a singer that came out of nowhere. After being single-handedly trained by Hai Rui, he became a superstar. But no one knew his true identity. No one knew he was the fourth master of Tangkor, and no one knew he was Tongning's younger brother. Now that he was revealed to have stepped between Xia Jingyi and another man, and become a loathed mistress, his public image was dealt a devastating blow. After all, he wasn't Tongning. A simple rumor was enough to return him to his original state. Inside the waiting room, Tang Jingxian couldn't help but laugh as he looked at the hottest news. Behind him, Song Yanshu suddenly said after a moment of silence, "It's okay, Hai Rui is trying their best to salvage the situation. I don't mind that my image has been destroyed, it's just that I've been hurt, so I don't want to accept it," Song Yanshu replied calmly. "Luo Xing, you need to understand your identity. Not only are you the new superstar of Hai Rui, you are also the fourth master of the Tang family. No matter what your identity is, I will definitely clear your name." Tang Jingxian remained silent for a moment before he finally thanked her. Not everyone could lend a helping hand at a time like this. Based on this, Tang Jingxian was certain that Song Yanshu was a trustworthy person, just like Tongning had said. "If you really want to thank me, then pull yourself together and be as strong as your sister." Song Yanshu suddenly revealed a rare smile. "To be honest, both you and Ning Jie aren't suited to survive in the entertainment industry. But Ning Jie has the ability to change the rules of survival in the entertainment industry. As for you, if my sister can do it, I can do it too," Tang Jingxian replied confidently. Song Yanshu tilted her head and looked at him with a smile. "I trust you." Tang Jingxian also looked at Song Yanshu. He was supposed to feel awkward because he felt like no one would believe him. But the look in Song Yanshu's eyes told him that she truly believed him. Because of the scandal, Tang Jingshuan's travel became a lot more difficult. Song Yanshu tried her best to protect him from the reporters, but they continued to forcefully drag her away. He never imagined that the person that was protecting him from the storm would be a woman. Didn't she know that she was skinny? Seeing Song Yanshu surrounded by layers of reporters, Tang Jingxian couldn't stand it any longer. He grabbed onto Song Yanshu's hand, pulled her in front of him, and escorted her out of the encirclement. Song Yanshu looked at him in shock and struggled free. "Are you crazy? Do you want things to get more complicated? Do you want me to sit back and watch you get trapped? That's exactly what I want you to do. What if the reporters start spreading rumors about us tomorrow?" Tang Jingxian clenched his teeth and said regardless, "At most, I'll leave this circle. I'll protect her." This time, Song Yanshu did not resist until they boarded the van. Song Yanshu's assistant immediately escorted the couple out of the area. After they arrived at a safe place, Song Yanshu said, "You are too stubborn. Yanshu, I entered this industry because I love to sing, not because of fame or status." Song Yanshu did not refute him any further. She simply sighed. "I will definitely prove your innocence no matter the cost." Tang Jingxian did not say another word. He simply made a decision in his heart. At this moment, Song Yanshu had to admit that she couldn't understand Tang Jingxian. After returning home, Tang Jingxian headed straight to his room. Meanwhile, just as Song Yanshu was about to leave the Tang household, she received a phone call from Tongning. "Ning Jie, I've already seen how the situation is developing," Tongning said to Song Yanshu. "Get Xia Jingyi to step out and clarify the situation. Otherwise, the fourth master of the Tang family is not someone to be trifled with. If she still wants to keep her current status and doesn't want her reputation to be ruined, she needs to understand the situation in front of her." After hearing Tongning's words, Song Yanshu froze for a few seconds. From what she knew, as long as something had nothing to do with her family or loved ones, Tongning would not retaliate. She was able to tolerate being wronged. But as long as it involved Mo Ting, her friends and family, her ruthlessness would be revealed from the depths of her bones. "Okay, I will speak to Xia Jingyi about this matter. Be careful not to let others gossip about you and allow Xia Jingyi to use you," Tongning warned in seriousness. "Don't worry, Ning Jie, I know what to do." Song Yanshu understood immediately. After putting down her phone, Tongning leaned back against the cushion behind her. At this time, Ting suddenly reached out his hand and held onto her shoulder. Even though you've retreated from the industry, you still have to care about so many things. Ning turned her head and looked at Ting with a gentle smile. I got to where I am today because of you, because of myself, and because I have the ability to protect the people around me. Xia Jingyi's incident had a huge impact on Jingxian. The feeling of being betrayed and slandered, I understand it better than he does. That's enough. Do you think I don't know what you're like? You don't need to explain. Ting said as he placed his hand on Ning's slightly protruding stomach. You can seek revenge, but you can't tire yourself out. If you feel like you can't handle it, then let me do it. You? Forget it, it's too destructive. I'm afraid Xia Jingyi won't be able to handle it. Ning was well aware that as long as Ting made a move, he would eliminate the root of the problem. He didn't like to leave any loose ends. Let me do it. In our family you are the boss. You have the final say. Ting placed his lips against Ning's hair and gently sniffed. It was like he was absorbing all the nutrients in his body. Ning closed her eyes in satisfaction. Her heart still felt excited at the thought of being close to the person she loved. It was a feeling that she would never get tired of. After receiving Ning's reminder, Song Yenshu contacted Xia Jingyi's manager that afternoon. Because of the relationship between Song Yenshu and Ning, the manager did not dare to be negligent. So they arranged for Song Yenshu and Xia Jingyi to meet in the waiting room. Xia Jingyi knew why Song Yenshu had called her. So she looked into the mirror and said, I know why you called me. But I'm sorry, I can't help you. Oh, so you know, Song Yenshu smiled. Song Yenshu gave a slight smile before her tone became a little sharper. Then I'm sure you know deep down that you're trying to help, right? Xia Jingyi's right hand, which was holding onto her mascara, trembled. Luo Xing was deceived by you. First you two-timed him and now you're slandering him. Are you trying to help? Xia Jingyi's expression turned a little ugly. You and I are both well aware of Luo Xing's identity. Don't forget whose brother he is. Xia Jingyi, I'm not asking for your help today. I'm asking you to step out and clarify everything. Otherwise, if things get out of hand, you will be the one to get hurt, Song Yenshu sneered. I can't step out because even if Luo Xing isn't an artist, he is still the young master of the Tang family. On the other hand, I have nothing. He is the young master of the Tang family. That's not a reason for you to slander him. Just because he has money, does that mean he should give in to you? Why should he? Chapter 491. Stop talking. What can I do? Sheng Jiaoyang won't let me off and he won't let Luo Xing off either. Whether I make a move or not, the result will be the same. Miss Song, please leave. Xia Jingyi turned and glared at Song Yenshu. Her heart was already a mess. The meaning of her words was clear enough. That was, she couldn't help him. In reality, when Song Yenshu arrived, she had already expected this result. However, she still wanted to give it a try. She wanted to see if the woman Tang Jingxian once liked had a shred of conscience and courage. But after hearing Xia Jingyi's words, Song Yenshu laughed. Since you've already given up on Luo Xing, you better not regret what happens next. After speaking, Song Yenshu straightened her body from the makeup table and headed for the door. Xia Jingyi slowly averted her gaze. At this moment, her eyes were filled with self-ridicule. She understood Tang Jingxian. No matter what, he was a kind person and wouldn't be ruthless towards her. But Wan Shiwen would. However, Xia Jingyi would only find out later how wrong her judgment had been. After leaving Xia Jingyi's waiting room, Song Yenshu gave Ning another phone call to clarify Xia Jingyi's stance. Ning was silent for a few seconds before she replied. Does that mean from now on we don't need to worry about this woman? Yes, Ningjia, but I'm afraid Luo Xing. Don't worry, he won't turn back, Ning said confidently. Yenshu, go discuss with Fangyu. Tell him to tell everyone the truth about Jingxian and Xia Jingyi's relationship from start to finish. The truth is logic. It will always hold more water than a lie. Okay, Ningjia, I'll get to it immediately. Since Xia Jingyi refused to make a decision, she had no choice but to force her to make a stand. Even though Xia Jingyi didn't necessarily speak up for Tang Jingxian. So with Fangyu leading the way, Rui's PR once again explained the entire process of their relationship in detail to the public. They also emphasized that Tang Jingxian was also a victim and tried their best to restore his public image. However, this kind of gossip in the entertainment industry has been rotten. The audience does not care who is innocent, and most of them have the mentality of watching the fun. To put it simply, there was only one sentence to sum it up. None of the three are good birds. Luo Xing's foresight can't be that bad, right? Her fiancé couldn't take it anymore and stood out to make it public. How can it be fake? I think the main character, Xia Jingyi, should step out and say a few words, right? Rui has been emphasizing that Xia Jingyi lied to Luo Xing, and I think it's true. After all, they are both artists under Rui. If it wasn't for the truth, why would Rui step out to clarify for Luo Xing? If I was Xia Jingyi's fiancé, I would directly castrate Luo Xing. How dare he play with a man's wife? Isn't that a little too much? He probably caught them in the act. How could this kind of person be worthy of his fans spending money to fight for him? Using the fans' money to flirt with people in the industry. How disgusting. The male celebrities in the entertainment industry always make me lose my sense of morality. The two of them have gone overboard this time. With the increase in attention, the negative impact on Luo Xing grew. In fact, he had no choice but to postpone the release date of his film. Tongning sat at home and gave Xia Yuling a phone call. Mom, find an excuse to go to Switzerland after Jingshuan's matter is resolved. I'm also worried about Jingxian. Everyone in the agency is talking about him. Okay, I will find an excuse to postpone the release and let Tangxian worry for another 2 days. Tongning hung up the phone and looked calmly at the drizzling sky. It was about time. Jingyi, Vice President Fang spoke to me a moment ago. The agency has arranged for a press conference for you to clarify everything, Xia Jingyi's manager said in a strict tone. If it was another agency, they would have tried to help both parties out of their predicament to protect their artists. But this is Rui. President Mo has zero tolerance for things like this. So for the sake of the bigger picture, I suggest you cooperate. At least clear Luo Xing's name first and protect him. After this incident blows over, we will find another chance to start over. So is Rui forcing me? Xia Jingyi sneered as she asked her manager. As Tongning's brother, Luo Xing can't be abandoned. So, are they going to sacrifice me? You know better than anyone who is sacrificing who. Xia Jingyi's manager's voice turned cold. Luo Xing has treated you so well, but what about you? All I need to do is clarify everything, right? Xia Jingyi changed the topic as her manager looked at her with an incomprehensible light. 3 p.m. Xia Jingyi's manager had nothing else to say to her as she left the waiting room. Xia Jingyi held back her tears as she sat in her chair. No one could understand her current situation. It wasn't that she didn't want to save Luo Xing, but if Wan Shiwen was to reveal what happened all those years ago, then she would be completely destroyed. Even if Luo Xing left the entertainment industry, he would still be the young master of the Tang family. But she couldn't afford to lose anything. So I'm sorry, Luo Xing. Xia Jingyi thought to herself. For the sake of the press conference that afternoon, Tongning arrived at the agency quietly and personally met with Fang Yu and Song Yanshu. Ningjia, Xia Jingyi has already compromised. She will clarify everything for Luo Xing, Song Yanshu said as she followed behind Tongning. After hearing this, Tongning did not respond. She had never relied on gambling to win, so she didn't trust Xia Jingyi that much. Go make your preparations. Okay, Song Yanshu replied before she left Fang Yu's office, leaving Tongning and Fang Yu to look at each other. As good friends and comrades, Fang Yu could read Tongning's mind through her eyes. You don't trust Xia Jingyi. Whether I trust her or not, I can't place all my bets on her. I can let something happen to her, but I can't let anything happen to Jingxian, Tongning replied coldly. What information do you already have in your hands? I'm sure you've already gathered enough information from Long Jia. Let's organize our resources and Luo Xing will be fine. Fang Yu pulled out some documents from his office shelf and handed them to Tongning. I understand you. You only did this to stop Xia Jingyi from hiding. Exposing her in front of everyone is the only way to help Luo Xing get back at her. I've never been a kind person. Tongning looked at Fang Yu with a deeper meaning. If she wants to bully my family, she will need to get past me first. Who can get past you? Fang Yu couldn't help but laugh. There were so many people in Hairui, including Hu Jingjing. Which one of them hadn't been subdued by Tongning? When it came to Tongning, no one dared to go against her. So this afternoon, there was bound to be a good show. Chapter 492. Regarding the scandal of Luo Xing being a mistress, the two men involved had already expressed their stance. Now all that was left was the woman's stance. Xia Jingyi's words seemed to be related to Luo Xing's future as a star. It had a huge impact on him. Xia Jingyi wasn't stupid. She couldn't afford to offend Wan Shiwen, and she couldn't resist Hairui. So all she could do was choose a middle ground. Of course, she thought, this would minimize the damage to everyone. 3 p.m., Xia Jingyi will be holding a press conference. She will clarify everything for you. Song Yenshu said as she stood behind Tang Jingxian in the waiting room. Song Yenshu said as she stood behind Tang Jingxian. Because of President Mo's pressure, she doesn't dare to act recklessly. Tang Jingxian looked at the busy streets with a look of ridicule. Do you trust her? Song Yenshu listened quietly without saying a word. Deep down, there was no way she could trust Xia Jingyi. But she had her own plans and ways to protect Tang Jingxian. In a moment, you stay in the waiting room. I'll go watch over Xia Jingyi. Tang Jingxian nodded his head. Beneath his thick eyelashes, it was hard to tell what he was feeling. 2:50 p.m. The reporters arrived at Hairui's ballroom. This time, they were holding a press conference on Hairui's own turf. The female lead of the Luo Xing mistress scandal has finally spoken. I really want to know what's going on. I'm here to see how Hairui handles their PR. I wonder how the usually flawless Hairui plans to protect Luo Xing this time. Don't you guys think Luo Xing has always been a mystery? I can't believe no one knows about his family background. Amidst the discussions of the reporters and the cameras, it didn't take long before Xia Jingyi, under the protection of her manager, made her way onto the stage. It was obvious that because of the scandal, Xia Jingyi's face was filled with exhaustion. Although she was wearing heavy makeup, it wasn't hard to see her sunken eyes. Let's begin. Xia Jingyi's manager reminded Xia Jingyi that she had already prepared a script. Now, all she had to do was memorize it. For Xia Jingyi, this shouldn't be a difficult task. Xia Jingyi turned her head and glanced at her manager before turning back to the reporters. I know you guys have been paying attention to the scandal between Luo Xing and me. I never expected things to get to this point. I'm standing here today to prove Luo Xing's innocence. Hearing that Xia Jingyi was going to prove Luo Xing's innocence, the manager and Song Yenshu let out a sigh of relief. But a second later, their expressions turned serious as they listened to Xia Jingyi's words. Luo Xing and I don't have that kind of relationship. My fiancé simply misunderstood. I've never betrayed my fiancé. Luo Xing and I are innocent. But the outside world has captured an intimate photo of you and Luo Xing, a reporter asked. I've been working with him for a long time, so of course there will be photos of us together. But this isn't evidence of an affair between us. But Hairui has already announced that there was indeed a relationship issue between the two of you. The reporter directly used Hairui's PR to slap Xia Jingyi in the face. The agency has misunderstood. Luo Xing's feelings are one-sided and I've never responded to them. I know he treats me well, but I'm sorry, I already have a fiancé. So, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind Luo Xing to behave himself. One-sided love, behave himself. Hearing these words, Song Yenshu and Xia Jingyi's manager subconsciously furrowed their brows. Are you trying to say that Hairui's PR lied to you? The reporter asked. I know what I've said today has gone against Hairui's intentions. But I'm sorry, my manager, I can't take the blame for Luo Xing. I am just a weak woman, I can't handle this much pressure. So, please don't force me. As soon as these words left her mouth, the entire venue was in an uproar. Xia Jingyi's words implied that Hairui was forcing her to step out and clarify Luo Xing's scandal. Xia Jingyi's manager's expression was ugly as she looked at Xia Jingyi in a new light. However, just as she was about to step onto the stage and drag Xia Jingyi away, Song Yenshu suddenly stopped her and said coldly, "Let me handle it." Xia Jingyi's manager froze for a moment. Seeing the cold expression on Song Yanshu's face, she nodded her head. Afterwards, Song Yanshu walked over to the stage and grabbed the microphone from Xia Jingyi's hand. She then turned to the media and said, "She's not telling the truth. You are Luo Xing's manager. Of course you will speak up for him." The truth is, while she was dating Luo Xing, she was also with another man. And Luo Xing has always been the victim, Song Yanshu said in a powerful voice. It's one thing for you to accuse Luo Xing after being exposed, yet you're planning to sacrifice Luo Xing to protect yourself? I've seen cheap people before, but I've never seen someone as cheap as you. So, can your words be trusted? Of course, it's because I also like Luo Xing. Song Yanshu said bravely. That's why I pay attention to his every move. I know every detail about your dates. Do you want me to expose the location of your dates and let the reporters find out about it? Luo Xing has no feelings for me, so I gladly accept him and continue to be his work partner. But he's not the type to destroy others. Otherwise, there's no way he wouldn't accept me. Why should he accept you? Xia Jingyi asked curiously with a hint of ridicule in her eyes. Why? Song Yanshu sneered. Because my surname is Song and my parents are both diplomats. If Luo Xing really has a problem with his personality, what reason would he have to reject someone with a family background like mine? I can do a lot of things for him. What can you possibly do for him? You come from a third-rate family, yet you're cheating on him. It's obvious what your upbringing is like. Hearing this, Xia Jingyi's expression suddenly changed. If you want to slander Luo Xing, then let's see the truth. Xia Jingyi, remember every single word you've said today. I'm going to show you how evil your heart really is. From today onwards, Luo Xing will be under my protection. After this, I will reveal all the details of your relationship to the media. Since you're so shameless, then I will let everyone personally verify the truth. As Song Yanshu said these words, her tone was firm and powerful. Her words set off 1,000 waves in Xia Jingyi's heart. The daughter of a diplomat. She was actually the daughter of a diplomat. She was even willing to expose her family background to protect Luo Xing. So, I'm going to give you one last chance. Are you going to tell the truth in front of the media? Chapter 493. No one expected a confrontation like this. Not only Tang Jingxian, even Tongning did not expect that Song Yanshu would step out so bravely and reveal her family background in order to protect Tang Jingxian. She also did not expect that she would be so determined. The press conference suddenly fell into a stalemate. With the addition of Song Yanshu, Xia Jingyi began to panic. Things seemed to have spiraled out of her control. Song Yanshu looked at Xia Jingyi calmly as she patiently waited for her answer. Meanwhile, all the cameras in the room were pointed at Xia Jingyi. Speak. Speak. One of the reporters was getting impatient as he shouted out loud. At this time, Xia Jingyi suddenly stuttered. I want to know how you could say that Luo Xing has a one-sided crush on you. Faced with Song Yanshu's aggressiveness, Xia Jingyi was forced to take a few steps back. Everyone could see Xia Jingyi's attitude. Just as Xia Jingyi was forced into a dead end, a man suddenly appeared at the entrance of Hai Rui. This man was Xia Jingyi's fiancé, Ruan Shiwen. I trust her. The media turned around in unison. Although Ruan Shiwen was being held back by a few bodyguards, he still managed to struggle his way to the entrance of the press conference. Xia Jingyi was a little surprised as she quickly stepped off the stage and warned the bodyguards, "Let him go." Afterwards, Xia Jingyi pounced into Ruan Shiwen's arms and burst into tears. I really didn't betray you. I really didn't get together with Luo Xing. I know. Ruan Shiwen gently patted her on the back comfortingly. I know you've been wronged. After speaking, Ruan Shiwen shielded Xia Jingyi and said to the media, if you want to clear Luo Xing's name, don't do it to my fiancé. If you have a problem, come at me instead. I bet you guys don't know why Hai Rui is so eager to help Luo Xing, right? Let me tell you, it's because Luo Xing's real name is Tang Jingxian. He is the younger brother of Tongning, the wife of Hai Rui's CEO and the young master of Tangkor. With this background, do you still think he is innocent? Tongning wants to protect her reckless brother, So she pushed all the blame onto my fiancé. What a pity. At the mention of Tangkor, some people didn't react in time. After all, it involved another industry. But as soon as Tongning's brother was mentioned, everyone erupted in excitement. So Luo Xing's name was Tang Jingxian. It turned out he was the younger brother of superstar Tongning. No wonder Hai Rui is trying so hard to clear Luo Xing's name. It turns out they have this connection. Fuck, he's Tongning's biological brother. This is huge news. Tongning's brother. Are you trying to force the couple into a corner? I really couldn't tell that Luo Xing had such a background. Hearing the discussions of the media, Song Yenshu looked at the couple hugging in the distance and trembled in anger. She had never seen anyone as shameless as the couple in front of her. Hai Rui should ask Luo Xing to speak. That's right. Hiding isn't the same thing. What else is there to say? My fiancé and I have already made things clear. My fiancé has been harassed by Luo Xing. This is the truth. After speaking, Ruan Xiwen tried to drag Xia Jingyi out of the room. But, just as they reached the entrance of the living room, they suddenly stepped back. At this time, the media once again went into an uproar. This aura, this power, was something that only Mo Ting could bring to the people around him. But, to everyone's surprise, the person that appeared this time was Tongning. The Tongning that had just announced her retreat from the industry. She was wearing a loose trench coat and a retro scarf. She did not put on the airs of a celebrity, but she gave off a cold aura that made people not dare to approach her. She was still the same person. No matter where she went, she still caused a commotion. No matter what, she was still the dazzling superstar that everyone could only look up to. It's Tongning. Oh God, it's actually Tongning. This time, the media rushed forward and surrounded the couple. However, facing the reporters, Tongning did not change her calm expression. In fact, she even had an elegant smile on her face. Since I've been dragged into this, if I don't make an appearance, wouldn't it be a waste of the show that you've arranged? Facing Tongning. Facing such a powerful Tongning, Xia Jingyi couldn't help but tremble. Meanwhile, Ruan Xiwen shielded Xia Jingyi as he sneered at Tongning. Your brother's scandal has already been exposed. Even if you make an appearance this time, it's useless. I admit, Luo Xing is indeed my brother, Tang Jingxian, Tongning replied honestly. But this doesn't mean he has harassed your woman, Xia Jingyi. Just because he is my brother. Does that mean he would do bad things? Isn't it like you hate the rich? Tang Jingxian harassed my fiancé, this is the truth. Have you presented any evidence for your so-called truth? Tongning pressed. Did you catch them in bed? Or did you witness them kissing? If you haven't seen anything, then you assume that your fiancé is cheating on you. You even revealed that you were cuckolded. If you didn't have an ulterior motive, which normal man would do something like that? I know you have a sharp tongue, but I can't win against you. I can only admit defeat, Ruan Xiwen sneered. It's not that I have a sharp tongue, I'm just stating the facts. Plus, since you already knew that Tang Jingxian was my brother, you still provoked him. That wasn't a smart thing to do. I am protecting my brother today. I am using my power to bully others. What are you going to do about it? Tongning asked angrily. He was born into the Tang family, that is his fortune. The fact that he was able to become a superstar is a testament to his talent and luck. Yet when it comes to you, do you think you are in the right just because you are poor? Tongning. You have no right to speak here, Tongning scolded. Because you have exceeded my understanding of the word human. If you are an animal, then please shut your mouth. Xia Jingyi's expression suddenly turned exceptionally ugly. Because she could sense that Tongning was truly angry. Tongning was angry. Fine, since you want to bully others today, bring it on. I want to see if Hai Rui can swallow us up today. To be honest, if it wasn't for Luo Xing, I wouldn't even bother to say a word to you. After speaking, Tongning headed towards the stage. From this moment onwards, Xia Jingyi began to panic. Tongning wasn't someone to be trifled with. She had never lost before. What was she planning to do? Chapter 494. Xiwen. Xia Jingyi subconsciously held on to Ruan Xiwen's hand. She was so nervous that her palms were covered in cold sweat. Don't be afraid. I want to see how the famous Tongning is going to clear her brother's name. Wan Shiwen seemed confident. He refused to believe that Tongning knew the truth behind the incident. Tongning did not say a word. She simply walked onto the stage and turned to Song Yenshu. You've worked hard. Let me do it. Ningjia. Nothing will happen, Tongning replied confidently with a gentle smile. Song Yenshu turned and glared coldly at the cheating couple below the stage. She then retreated behind Tongning, no longer wanting to get involved in the drama. The cameras in the reporters' hands flashed continuously. Meanwhile, in order to hide her stomach, Tongning deliberately tilted her body and placed her hands on the stage. Her entire body emitted an unapproachable aura. After a few seconds of silence, she asked Xiaojingyi, if you continue to put on an act and refuse to tell the truth, then I will have to speak. Although Xiaojingyi was nervous, she couldn't imagine what kind of information Tongning had in her hands. So even though her heart was beating like a drum, she still stubbornly replied, We've already told the truth. Really? Tongning's voice turned cold. You've already told the truth? Fine, let's first talk about what happened 12 years ago. Hearing this, Xiaojingyi's eyes grew wide as she stared at Tongning. Her throat felt dry as she felt her throat go dry. It seems, it's time for me to tell everyone an interesting story. 12 years ago. No, Xiaojingyi suddenly cried out in agitation. I beg of you, don't. Tongning's lips curved upwards, but she did not stop. On an afternoon 12 years ago, I was with Luo Xing. Xiaojingyi had no choice but to admit, I was with Luo Xing. Are you satisfied now? Satisfied? If you yell like this, the reporters will think I'm forcing you. Tongning laughed calmly. Either you come on stage and tell me the truth, or I'll send you on your way. It's your choice. Xiaojingyi's eyes turned red as her body stiffened. She never imagined Tongning would have such a big hold on her. Hold on to the fact that she caused the death of Wan Shiwen's mother. Don't go up, I can't. Xiaojingyi struggled out of Wan Shiwen's embrace and suddenly yelled at him. It's all your fault. Why did you have to force me like this? I already agreed to marry you, so why did you have to frame Luo Xing? I really didn't do it on purpose. I had no choice. After the reporters heard Xiaojingyi's rambling words, they were all shocked. Yes, I hurt Luo Xing and ruined his reputation. But it was all planned by this man. He wants to get revenge on me and Luo Xing. Xiaojingyi pointed at Wan Shiwen and said angrily, I really didn't mean it. I didn't want to hurt Luo Xing. Since you don't want to, why do you still listen to this man? So much so that you even put on such a show at the press conference? Tongning pressed on. Let me tell you, it was because you were afraid he would expose you, Tongning said confidently. Because 12 years ago, you caused the death of his mother. Hearing this, the reporters quickly pulled out their cameras and recorded the expression on Xiaojingyi's face. So, all you could do was compromise and comply. As for what happened 12 years ago, Hai Rui will hand over the results of their investigation to the police. As for what your so-called fiancé has done over the years, you can only talk to the police about it. What's there to be afraid of? I'm innocent. Wan Shiwen still refused to give up. Were you innocent when you were helping someone launder money? Tongning asked as she raised an eyebrow. Wan Shiwen's expression changed. He never expected Tongning to know something so secretive. Tongning looked at the expression on the man's face and smiled. You can play tricks on anyone you want, but the wrong thing to do is to bully my family. If my brother is in the wrong, I will naturally teach him a lesson. But if someone has ill intentions and tries to slander him, then I'm sorry, I will dig them out and expose them to the public. You wanted to destroy Luo Xing, so I destroyed you. It's fair. After speaking, Tongning turned to Song Yenshu. I'll leave the rest to you. Don't worry, Ningjia. Song Yenshu nodded. As expected, when it came to strength, no one could compete with Tongning. Tongning is still Tongning. So cool. I'm so infatuated with Tongning's personality. She's so fucking domineering. Fuck, when I saw the disgusting couples act a moment ago, I thought it was real. Who would have thought that as soon as Tongning arrived, the demons would reveal their true colors. In order not to affect the child in her stomach, Tongning immediately left the stage and left under the protection of security. The reporters followed behind her until she disappeared from the hall. When I get back, I'll have more material to write about. News about Tongning is always trending. Isn't that obvious? Tongning is the correct way to deal with his sister. If you think about it, Luo Xing is quite similar to his sister. He obviously has a powerful background, yet he didn't use it to create hype. He's quite a low profile. Song Yenshu returned to her seat and looked down at the two surrounded by reporters. Not long after, the police arrived at the scene. Xia Jingyi was so scared that she took a few steps back. However, the police quickly reached out and held her back. Be honest. We suspect that you are involved in an accidental death 12 years ago. Please come with us to the police station to assist with our investigation. Of course, Wan Shiwen had no chance of escaping. But being led away by the police in front of everyone made Xia Jingyi feel like she was better off dead. But just as the police escorted them out of the hall, they bumped into Luo Xing walking down the stairs. At that moment, Tang Jingxian looked at Xia Jingyi coldly. However, Xia Jingyi grabbed onto the corner of Tang Jingshuan's shirt. Luo Xing, save me. Please save me. Tang Jingxian did not move. He simply turned his head slightly, but his gaze made Xia Jingyi's hair stand on end. Why should I? I really had no choice. I've decided to chase after Yenshu. Luo Xing. I still love you. Okay. After a cold okay, Tang Jingxian freed himself from Xia Jingyi's grip and left. From this moment onwards, the person that left a bloody scar in his life would forever disappear from his heart. Without a doubt, Luo Xing's incident provided the entertainment industry with a lot of hot news. After the press conference, Tang Jingxian headed straight for the CEO's office. At this time, Song Yenshu was giving Tongning a report on the aftermath. Chapter 495. Thinking about the harsh words he had just said to Xia Jingyi, Tang Jingxian couldn't help but feel a little awkward. Tongning noticed Tang Jingshuan's face turn red, so she put down the magazine in her hands and asked Song Yenshu, "Did you mean what you said earlier about liking Luo Xing?" Song Yenshu was a little surprised, but she quickly replied, "I simply wanted to protect Luo Xing." "I see." Tongning deliberately provoked Tang Jingxian. "Look at who you've been with in the past. You obviously have such a good woman by your side, yet you don't know how to cherish her." Tang Jingxian cleared his throat to indicate that he was still present, so his wise sister didn't create any more awkward situations. Song Yenshu's ears turned slightly red, but she calmly moved to one side and gave Tang Jingxian some space. Mo Ting sat in front of his desk dealing with work. His silence meant that Tongning could do whatever she wanted. If Tongning didn't want to do anything, he would take over. Sister 3. Now that everyone in the country knows that Yenshu likes you, how is she supposed to find a boyfriend? Tongning asked as she raised an eyebrow. To protect you, she sacrificed her reputation and bravely stepped forward. But look at what you've done. I will never forget this lesson. Tang Jingxian laughed in self-ridicule. Tang Jingxian laughed at himself. Don't worry, my heart will only get harder and harder. I won't be so naive and stupid from now on. I will do what I want to do wholeheartedly and leave my mark in the music industry. Yenshu, take him home. Tongning understood that this incident had dealt a big blow to Tang Jingxian, so she deliberately asked Song Yenshu to comfort him. Okay. Song Yenshu's expression was businesslike. But after hearing Tang Jingxian say that his heart would only get harder and harder, she couldn't help but feel a ripple in her heart. Tang Jingxian turned around and walked out of the office with Song Yenshu following closely behind. Yenshu, I'm sorry and thank you. Song Yenshu shook her head to show that she didn't mind. Ningjia protected you. I didn't do much. No, your bravery means a lot to me. After speaking, Tang Jingxian led Song Yenshu into the lift. After returning home, Elder Tang sat on the sofa and said, Some people are cruel and unscrupulous, but some people are loyal and compassionate. Lao Si, your grandfather has good taste, right? Tang Jingxian smirked, but didn't say anything. She has done so much for me. You must choose a gift for me to thank her properly. Got it. Tang Jingxian was exhausted, so he returned to his room. However, he didn't take Elder Tang's words to heart. Lying on his bed, he looked at the glass equipment on his desk. Suddenly, a thought flashed across his mind. This was something he could do for Song Yanshu. At this moment, the room suddenly fell silent. Meanwhile, Tang Xian sat opposite Elder Tang with her hands on her hips. "Grandfather, is Auntie Xia going to Switzerland for a business trip tomorrow?" A meaningful look flashed across Elder Tang's eyes, but he did not let Tang Xian notice. He simply nodded his head. "Yes, it took up a bit of time, but I still have to go." "Okay," Tang Xian smiled as she quickly changed the subject. "Is Jingxian okay?" "With Tongning around, nothing bad will happen." At the mention of Tongning, Elder Tang couldn't help but look proud. However, it was also a form of mockery towards Tang Xian. When Tang Jingxian was in trouble, as his elder sister, she did not say anything. Yet, now that the matter had been resolved, she ran over to show her concern. "That's good." Tang Xian's eyes flashed with a hint of anger. Everything was about Tongning. Could it be that she, his granddaughter, didn't exist in his heart? She obviously had the blood of the Tang family running through her veins. Since Tangkor was about to undergo a cleansing, she was going to let Tongning and her daughter be arrogant for a few more days. After the cleansing was over and Tangkor was back in her hands, she was going to see how she would torture the two disgusting women. "I heard the Zhong family have run into some trouble. Illegal items have been found on the boat. If you need help, let me know." Elder Tang said this to remind Tang Xian that the Zhong family were currently in a difficult situation and could no longer support her. In fact, they might even use her to drain Tangkor. However, Tang Xian simply smiled. "It's okay, it will be resolved very quickly." "You sure are confident." Elder Tang laughed to himself because he knew who was manipulating everything behind the scenes. Putting aside Tang Xian, there was no way Mo Ting would let the Zhong family get away with scheming against Tongning get away with it. "Will it be resolved very quickly?" "There's no way it can be resolved." "How satisfying." "Since you're fine, then grandfather can rest assured. Although your in-laws aren't very friendly towards you, you still need to show some concern at a time like this." "Yes, grandfather." Elder Tang nodded his head as he stood up and returned to his room. Meanwhile, Tang Xian stared at Elder Tang's back as she thought about how to deal with Xia Yuling. Late at night, Hyatt Regency. As tomorrow's trip was going to be dangerous, Xia Yuling took the initiative to visit Hyatt Regency. She wanted to see Tongning and her precious grandson again. Jingshuan's incident was a close shave. "The industry is too messy," Xia Yuling sighed. "Mom, where isn't it messy?" Tongning was referring to Tang Xian's internal strife in Tangkor. Jingxian has learned his lesson and will naturally grow up. You don't need to worry too much. "I'm not worried about him, I'm worried about you," Xia Yuling said as she looked at Tongning's stomach. "You're pregnant, yet you still have to worry about everything. Tomorrow's trip to Switzerland will definitely be dangerous. Mom, you need to be 120% vigilant," Tongning said as she rubbed her stomach. "How could Mo Ting and I's child be so fragile?" "Don't worry." "I will." Xia Yuling nodded her head in seriousness. "Even if it's for the sake of seeing my grandson, I can't let anything happen to myself. Ting has arranged for people to receive you at the airport. No matter what happens, they will help you. I trust Mo Ting." Since Tang Xian wanted to put on an act, then Tongning was going to give her a big one. Otherwise, how could she answer to all of her scheming? After Xia Yuling left, Tongning stared at the door in the distance in a daze. Mo Ting noticed the change in her mood, so he immediately hugged her and asked, "Are you worried?" Tongning shook her head. "With my husband around, I'm not worried." "Then what's wrong?" "I just suddenly remembered that Tang Xian also has a child in her stomach. She was born without a mother. It's quite pitiful," Tongning sighed. "Really? I'm actually looking forward to the moment the mother and child are separated. After all, getting rid of a tumor is a blessing for the child." Chapter 496. 3 p.m. in Switzerland. Xia Yuling and her assistant stepped out of the airport together. However, before boarding the plane, Tang Ning had instructed her that Mo Ting's men would be wearing brown coats and black hats. They would also be holding a newspaper in their hands and wearing an Italian badge that indicated Hai Rui's identity. So, as soon as she stepped out of the airport, Xia Yuling immediately noticed Mo Ting's men. Because she was surrounded by her supporters, Xia Yuling relaxed a little and became a lot calmer. President Xia. That's the person who will be receiving us. Xia Yuling's secretary pointed to a man in a black coat with a badge in his hand. Go check with him first. I don't understand Italian, Xia Yuling instructed. In reality, she simply wanted the secretary to lower her guard. When she was in school, she took a few languages as a minor. Okay. The secretary quickened her footsteps and walked over to the man. She lowered her head and said something to him. Afterwards, the secretary turned around and waved at Xia Yuling. President Xia, it's time. Xia Yuling nodded her head and walked over to greet them. Behind her, Mo Ting's men also quietly followed behind. President Xia, please board the car. Outside the airport, the secretary pulled open the door of a Lincoln limousine and gestured for Xia Yuling to board. Xia Yuling glanced at the man and then at the secretary. She then happily boarded the limousine and sat down like nothing had happened. President Xia, the farm we are heading to is about 2 hours away. You can get some rest first. Okay. Xia Yuling nodded her head. Through the rearview mirror, she saw the car following behind them and pretended to close her eyes. Afterwards, the secretary spoke to the driver in Italian. When do you plan to make your move? On the way to the farm, there is a three-way junction. The terrain is dangerous and there are many Eastern European crime syndicates that come here to rob and extort money. Give her a glass of wine. There's a tranquilizer in it. The secretary's eyes flashed with surprise, but she quickly suppressed it. With trembling hands, she poured Xia Yuling a glass of red wine while she was taking a nap. President Xia, would you like some? Xia Yuling slowly opened her eyes and nodded her head. Pass it to me. Xia Yuling received the glass, took a sip and handed it back to the secretary. Then she gradually closed her eyes and pretended to be asleep. That's enough. Seeing that she had fallen asleep, the secretary relaxed. President Xia, please don't blame me. Miss Tang has been very kind to me. Xia Yuling remained unmoved. It seemed she had actually fainted from the tranquilizer. After testing Xia Yuling's reaction, the secretary turned to the driver and said, Don't be too harsh on her. This is none of your business. The entire way, Xia Yuling showed no signs of waking up. After traveling for an hour, they finally arrived at the so-called dangerous three-way junction. At this time, there was already someone waiting at the crossroad. The driver stopped the Lincoln and wrapped Xia Yuling in a black bag. He then carried her out of the car and handed her to the receptionist. Take care of her. As the secretary watched Xia Yuling being taken away, she nervously closed her eyes. Her palms were covered in cold sweat and her entire body was trembling. Especially when he heard that. She really wanted to regret it, but when the words reached her throat, she couldn't say anything. It didn't take long before Xia Yuling was taken away by the black car. The driver returned to the car and said to his secretary, You can call the police in a moment. He was robbed. He was kidnapped. Xia Yuling was indeed kidnapped. But before she could get far, she was stopped by another car. A dozen strong bodyguards immediately grabbed the people in the car. Not only did they take Xia Yuling away, but they also smashed up the car and took the people inside to the police station. President Xia, are you okay? With the help of a middle-aged man, Xia Yuling tore open the black bag and took a few deep breaths of fresh air before replying, I'm fine. What a close shave. You sure are brave to play along with us. The man handed her a glass of warm water. I trust in my son-in-law. Thinking about it, Xia Yuling felt a lingering fear. But under the circumstances, if she hadn't pretended to faint, the driver would have hit her in the car. That wouldn't have been worth it. Don't worry, President Mo's arrangements are flawless. We will take you to your room to get some rest. Okay. Xia Yuling nodded her head. She never expected that her secretary would actually do something like this. She was a traitor. As for Tang Xian, as soon as Xia Yuling was safe, she gave Tang Ning a phone call. Afterwards, she explained the situation to Elder Tang in detail. As soon as Elder Tang heard what she said, he flipped the table in front of him in anger. That heartless animal deserves to die. Grandfather, what's wrong? Tang Jingxian burst through the door after hearing the commotion. Seeing Elder Tang's angry expression, he was a little surprised. It had been a long time since Elder Tang had been this angry. Elder Tang took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Seeing that his grandson was right in front of him, he immediately regained his composure. Yuling, I'm glad you're fine. I want to see what that animal wants to do. Father, I'm fine. Don't worry. Hearing the conversation between Elder Tang and Xia Yuling, Tang Jingxian could roughly guess what was going on. Who else would dare to cause trouble in this household? Grandfather. Elder Tang put down his phone and held onto his chest as he waved at Tang Jingxian. How could the Tang family produce such a heartless person? Tang Jingxian immediately ran over to help Elder Tang up. Afterwards, he overheard a bit about Xia Yuling's business trip to Switzerland. Grandfather, don't worry. With Sister 3 and brother-in-law around, no matter what that woman does, she will simply be shooting herself in the foot. Let's wait and see. Elder Tang took a deep breath. I want to see what she plans to do to Tangkor. I've wanted to get rid of her for a long time, yet she's pregnant. The phone call that Xia Yuling had gone missing came from her secretary. As soon as the housekeeper received the phone call, he was so shocked that he almost dropped it. Tang Xian was in the living room at the time. Seeing the shocked housekeeper, she immediately asked, What happened? The madam has been kidnapped and her whereabouts are currently unknown. How did this happen? Tang Xian immediately revealed a worried expression. Don't tell grandfather about this in case he gets worried. In reality, Tang Xian had deliberately said this after hearing Elder Tang's footsteps. Immediately contact the Swiss police and find out what happened. Tangkor is currently expanding, we can't do without Auntie Xia. Elder Tang stood behind Tang Xian. Seeing her acting like this, he wanted to run over and slap her across the face. But he had no choice but to endure it. Chairman. The housekeeper furrowed his brows as he looked at Elder Tang who had appeared behind Tang Xian. Grandfather. Tang Xian turned around and called out softly. What's wrong with Yuling? Chapter 497. It's nothing. It's just that they couldn't contact Auntie Xia in Switzerland, so they called to ask, Tang Xian replied. You tell him. Elder Tang knew Tang Xian's motive, so he directly asked the housekeeper. The housekeeper stared blankly at Tang Xian for a few seconds before replying in a serious tone. Madam's secretary called. Madam was robbed and kidnapped. Her whereabouts are unknown. After hearing this, Elder Tang clearly took 2 steps back. How could this be? Grandpa, don't worry. Maybe it's just fake news. Tang Xian immediately went up to support the old man and comforted him. Housekeeper, quick, contact the Swiss to confirm the news. Also, make sure Yuling's disappearance doesn't leak out. Elder Tang anxiously turned around and returned to the study room. It was obvious he wanted to know if he had any connections he could use to confirm Xia Yuling's whereabouts. As Tang Xian watched the old man leave, she could not help but sneer. You still want to find someone? That will never happen. In reality, if Tangkor wanted to find out about Xia Yuling, there was no need for her to spread the news herself. Plus, the person that had been kidnapped was the CEO of a multinational perfume company. So news of this would quickly spread throughout Switzerland. Soon Tang Jingxian heard the news and rushed home. He barged into Elder Tang's study room. Grandfather, this. The old man waved his hand, indicating that he did not need to continue. But Grandpa Xing lifted his head to look at Tang Jingxian with a meaningful look in his eyes. Although Tang Jingxian frowned, he still reacted. His tone became even more anxious. Grandpa, you can't just ignore Mom. Outside the door, Tang Xian was stunned for 2 seconds. After making sure there was nothing out of the ordinary, she grabbed her phone and knocked on the door before entering the study room. As soon as she saw the grandfather and granddaughter, she immediately handed the phone to Elder Tang. Grandfather, the higher-ups of Tangkor just called. Elder Tang looked deeply at Tang Jingxian before receiving the phone from Tang Xian. What is it? Chairman, I heard that President Xia was kidnapped, but what about our cooperation with Switzerland? Hearing the other party's tone, Elder Tang sneered. What? Yuling just got into trouble, and you guys are already jealous of her position? Let me tell you, the management rights belong to the Tang family. No one can take it away. Isn't that so? However, Switzerland has already given us a phone call. Because they want to avoid the news, they've already used the excuse that Tang Corps' representative didn't show up as an excuse to terminate their collaboration. We've suffered a huge loss. Plus, Tang Corps is such a big company, we can't do without a leader, right? The other party's tone became frivolous. For this reason, the board of directors has decided to hold a temporary meeting. Chairman, you should attend. Bastard. After hanging up the phone, Elder Tang trembled in anger. Yuling has just gotten into trouble, and these people are already trying to seize power. I'm not dead yet. Grandpa, don't be angry. Let's think of a way to find Auntie Xia first before we go deal with Tang Corps. This time, Elder Tang was truly angered. He knew that although a lot of these people were tempted by Tang Xian, as longtime employees of Tang Corps, they were already disloyal to Tang Corps. So this time, they were given an excuse and opportunity to rebel. Xiao Xian, go and calm the shareholders down. I'll go look for Xiao Ning. Okay, grandfather, I will definitely protect Tang Corps well. This was the promise that Tang Xian had been waiting for all this time. Go. Elder Tang waved his hand. Don't disappoint me this time. Elder Tang said with a deeper meaning. Don't worry. Tang Xian's lips curved upwards. After speaking, she turned and left the study room. At this time, Tang Jingxian finally spoke up. Grandpa, it's not time to pull in the net yet. Let her be happy. Elder Tang said with a deeper meaning. Elder Tang said with a deeper meaning. I want to see her appease the shareholders. Just when she thinks victory is in her grasp, I will give her a fatal blow. Then Mom. Tang Jingxian had long treated Xia Yuling like his mother, so he had always referred to her as Mom. In this family, Tang Xian was the only person she referred to as Auntie. With your sister 3 around, Tang Xian won't be able to escape her grasp. As soon as Elder Tang thought of the resourceful Tongning, a proud look appeared on his face. Of course, this time, Tongning was merely the one who suggested the plan. The true schemer was still behind her. That's good to hear. Tang Jingxian slowly relaxed. Meanwhile, at Hyatt Regency, according to reports, the woman who got into an accident in Switzerland this time is the current CEO of Tang Corps, Xia Yuling. At the same time, she is also the mother of the famous artist Tongning. After seeing the news, Tongning turned off the TV and put down the remote in her hands. Of course, those that were unaware, like Long Jia, immediately rushed over to Hyatt Regency. However, all they saw was Tongning's calm expression. Aren't you worried? My mom is on a plane back home. Tongning explained as she sat back down on the sofa and looked at Long Jia with a smile. What do you mean? Long Jia was confused. After spending some time, Tongning explained Tang Xian's plan to Long Jia. In reality, her plan was to seize control of Tang Corps. After hearing this, Long Jia came to a realization. If she goes to Tang Corps to appease the shareholders now, what if she succeeds? This time, not only do we need to punish Tang Xian, we also need to find the shareholders that have ulterior motives towards my mother. So let them fight amongst themselves. I prefer to watch a good show. Tongning replied calmly. She wanted Tang Xian to think that she had succeeded in taking back Tang Corps. She wanted to show Tang Xian the true meaning of being unaware of the aureole behind. Long Jia thought for a moment and finally understood Tongning's motive. So she gave her a thumbs up. You are trying to make Tang Xian work so hard, yet end up with nothing. Since this is what she wants, I will definitely fulfill her wish. Tongning revealed a gentle smile. After all, she plotted against me and the baby in my stomach, as well as retreating from the entertainment industry. I want to make her pay bit by bit. Although Tongning was pregnant, Long Jia didn't need to worry that her heart would soften. She was a vengeful person. This was Tongning. Since everything was planned by you, then I will wait to watch a good show. Hayes, what I don't understand is, why does Tang Xian always want to fight with you? Your IQs are obviously not on the same level. Some people are born with a lack of self-awareness, Tongning said as she rubbed her stomach. It seemed, Tang Xian still had no idea that she was pregnant. She thought she was a treasure. But in reality, all Elder Tang wanted was the Tang family child in Tang Xian's stomach. However, there were some truths that would no longer be interesting if they were revealed too early. This time, she was going to take over Tangkor and make Tang Xian's long-awaited wish come true. Chapter 498. At Tangkor, the board of directors held an emergency meeting. This time, Tang Xian reappeared in front of the shareholders, shocking them. It wasn't that they didn't know that Tang Xian had returned to Tangkor, but because Elder Tang had always placed her in an insignificant position, they did not pay too much attention to her. But at this moment, she actually had a chance to make a comeback. Tang Xian knew that these people had never trusted her and had always thought that she was average. So this time, she was going to prove her capabilities to these stubborn old people. I am here on behalf of my grandfather. If you have anything to say, please speak your mind. The board members looked at each other in dismay. In the end, a 40-something-year-old man standing to the right of Tang Xian straightened his suit jacket and said arrogantly, I just want to know when President Xia will be back. Tangkor is such a big conglomerate. It can't be left unattended, right? Tang Xian lowered her head and thought for a few seconds before she smiled. I don't know if Auntie Xia is still alive. I hope everyone can give us some time. Time. Do you know how much we invested in the Switzerland project? If it's gone just like that, who is going to take responsibility? Big Miss, although we understand your difficulties, you still need to protect the interests of our shareholders, another elderly shareholder said as he crossed his arms. It's fine for the Tang family to hold the management rights. After all, the Tang family were the ones that built the company and hold the most shares. But you need to give us an explanation, right? If President Xia can't return, then the old chairman should step out and take charge. Grandfather hasn't been feeling well lately. The second miss is a doctor, so I can't force her. What about the third miss? Hasn't Tongning retreated from the industry? Letting her manage Tangkor is better than not having a leader. Tang Xian's eyes darkened. Just as she was about to say something, another shareholder suddenly spoke up. Hand Tangkor over to an actress? Are you guys joking? Tongning may be in the entertainment industry, but she has a high reputation in the industry. Plus, she treats people well. Isn't she one of the best in the Tang family? Don't say any more. I will never accept an actress as the leader of Tangkor. What would that look like? Then who do you think should be in charge? Because of Tongning, a few shareholders' faces turned red with anger. From the bottom of their hearts, they looked down on the profession of acting. Not to mention, Tongning had been a model before. I wonder how many people he slept with in the past. Isn't he bringing shame to Tangkor by becoming the leader of Tangkor? If that's the case, I hope that First Miss can take control of the situation. Someone suddenly changed the topic to Tang Xian. After Tang Xian heard it, she didn't expect it either. In reality, most of the people present knew what Tang Xian was capable of, but in front of her, they didn't say much. Tang Xian already knew what these people were thinking, so she gave a gentle smile and said with sincerity, I know I have a lot of shortcomings in the past and have disappointed everyone. But after so long, I've started from the bottom and gained a new understanding of Tangkor. No matter who takes over Tangkor, this is what I want to tell everyone. Support Tongning. Support the young miss. Tongning, eldest Mississippi. From what I know, Tongning doesn't seem to have much interest in management. The chairman has approached her multiple times, but she has always told him that she doesn't want to be in meetings with a bunch of old men, and that management isn't her interest. As soon as this director finished speaking, everyone stopped arguing. After all, many people at Tangkor were well aware of this. Tongning had rejected Elder Tang in the past. In fact, she had done it more than once. Since those people can't be counted on, what else is there to say? As long as the big miss is in charge of Tangkor, I can rest assured. The results of the discussion were obviously heading in the direction that Tang Xian wanted. But she remained calm and said, Thank you for your trust, But I have indeed made a mistake. Since it's so difficult to make a decision, let's vote. Yes, let's vote. After a unanimous decision, the board of directors decided to use the fairest method. Regarding this result, Tang Xian was confident. After all, she had already bribed a lot of people in secret. But to her surprise, when the results of the vote were released, she and Tongning tied. You guys sure are enthusiastic about recommending Tongning. Unfortunately, she would rather bare her chest than take a single glance at Tang Kor. Fellow directors, please don't be angry. The best thing to do is for grandfather to take charge. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint everyone. This time, Tang Xian spoke with a humble attitude. Grandfather has the right to make the decision. Tang Xian continued to argue with the directors. What's there to choose? Have any of you seen Tongning's capabilities? Does she think that just because she's good in the entertainment industry, she's good at management? If you guys insist on making Tongning the new manager, I think I will consider withdrawing my shares. After one round of voting, the issue did not seem to be resolved. They were still stuck on the issue of Tongning or Tang Xian. At this time, Elder Tang received a phone call. No matter how disrespectful the shareholders were, they had to endure the anger in their hearts and listen to the call. It has been confirmed that Yuling has been kidnapped in Switzerland, and her fate is currently unknown. The entire Tang family is currently trying their best to find her. So tomorrow I will be announcing the acting CEO. I'm sure no one will have any objections. Tang Xian lowered her head and sneered. She knew, apart from herself, who else could truly take charge of the Tang family. Tomorrow, I will get my granddaughter to hold a meeting with you. Granddaughter. But he did not mention which granddaughter it was. This made Tang Xian even more certain that Elder Tang was planning to return her to her original position. The shareholders seemed to have misinterpreted Elder Tang's words and thought he wanted Tang Xian to temporarily take over. So they couldn't help but clap their hands. That's why those supermodels should step aside. To put it bluntly, Tongning is only suitable for men to play with. It's best if she never steps foot into Tangkor for the rest of her life. Watch your mouth when you speak, one of Tongning's defenders warned. They were already in a bad mood. Yet they were now going to send Tang Xian back to her original position. Now that Tongning was being humiliated, how could they not be agitated? Since grandfather has made his decision, I will see everyone tomorrow. We don't know who we will see tomorrow. Are you the chairman's only granddaughter? Someone scoffed at Tang Xian before leaving. However, this comment hit right at Tang Xian's heart. Chapter 499. In reality, Tang Xian knew deep down that if she wanted to establish her authority in front of the board of directors, she needed to produce results. If she couldn't resolve the Switzerland incident, then even if she was temporarily the acting CEO, she wouldn't be able to convince anyone, just like before. As for Tongning, she had already been in the entertainment industry for almost 10 years and knew nothing about business. So, she had no reason to worry that Tongning would achieve results before her. No matter what, she had been in the business world for many years. She wasn't someone that Tongning could compare to in a short period of time. Xia Yuling, I really need to thank you for your sacrifice. That's why I'm where I am now, Tang Xian thought to herself. 10 p.m. Xia Yuling's flight landed in Beijing on time. The people that Mo Ting sent to pick her up protected her well. Even when she directly walked out of the airport, no one noticed her. 40 minutes later, Xia Yuling stepped into Hyatt Regency. As soon as she saw Tongning, she immediately ran over and hugged her. Although she knew nothing would go wrong, she still felt a little scared. Mom, you are too brave. Tongning knew the entire kidnapping process and knew that Xia Yuling had taken a huge risk. Aren't I fine now? Xia Yuling removed her jacket and twirled it around in front of Tongning to show that she was fine. Don't you trust Mo Ting? Tongning took a deep breath and pulled Xia Yuling over to sit on the sofa. What's the situation with Tang Xian? She probably thinks that grandfather will announce her as the acting CEO tomorrow. Right now, she is racking her brains to think of a way to make a contribution and save the Switzerland case. Tongning replied calmly. Xia Yuling looked at Tongning's clear blue eyes. Her eyes seemed to have a life of its own. No one could hide anything from her eyes. She was too good at figuring out what others were thinking. In fact, most of the time, she simply saw through them without saying anything. In that case, what do you plan to do? Grandfather recommended a secretary to me. I'm thinking I'll temporarily let her handle things on my behalf. When the time comes, I'll make an appearance, Tongning replied carefully. As for the Switzerland case, I've already called them at least 40 times. Although they still haven't picked up, I will continue to try. At times like this, sincerity was the most important thing and perseverance was Tongning's forte. Are you confident? Although Xia Yuling believed in Tongning's capabilities, she had been in charge of Tangkor for so long, so she hoped nothing would go wrong. Mom, trust me. You can sleep here tonight. I've already prepared the guest room for you. Xia Yuling had experienced so much in just a couple of days, so she was obviously exhausted. So she did not refute Tongning as she stood up and headed for the guest room. Tongning watched as Xia Yuling disappeared before she picked up her phone and continued to call. However, no one picked up. 2 hours later, due to her pregnancy, Tongning fell asleep on the sofa. As soon as Mo Ting stepped out of the study room, he saw Tongning leaning against the sofa. He immediately walked over and laid her down flat on the sofa. He then took the phone from her hand and continued to make a call. Xia Yuling keenly sensed the movement in the living room, but it was already 3 a.m. Xia Yuling was still worried, so she quietly got up and walked over to the living room. She found Mo Ting protecting Tongning as she slept, leaning against the sofa and fiddling with his phone. Xia Yuling froze for a moment, not daring to move. She simply felt that Tongning had earned the right to marry a man like this. It was her fortune. Although Tongning normally loved Mo Ting, compared to the things he did for her in secret, Xia Yuling felt her heart ache a little more for this son-in-law of hers. Mo Ting continued to make a few more calls. This time, the person on the other side of the phone picked up. Mo Ting then spoke to the person on the other side of the phone in fluent Italian. After about 10 minutes, he put down his phone and carried Tongning into the bedroom. Halfway through, Tongning woke up. In her daze, she saw the side of Mo Ting's face and mumbled, "Hubby, I'm on the phone. You sleep first. From now on, if you continue to work so late, you can forget about taking over Tangkor." Mo Ting warned. "I can choose not to take over Tangkor, but there are some things that I can't let go of." Hearing this, Mo Ting fell silent. He knew what Tongning was referring to. Not only did Tang Xian want to remove her uterus, she almost caused Tongning to lose her baby. If she didn't get back at her, she wouldn't be able to live in peace. "I will take whatever she wants. I will always be right behind you." Mo Ting assumed that Tongning would be like before in this drama. She wanted him to be a bystander. "The Swiss have already picked up the phone. I've already asked Lu Che to make arrangements to send a representative over to meet with you. You always know what I'm thinking. But this is all I can do for you." Tongning opened her eyes and sat up. She then placed a kiss on Mo Ting's lips and whispered seductively beside his ear, "The baby wants to say hi to Daddy." Mo Ting's gaze darkened as he quickened his footsteps into the bedroom. He then gently placed Tongning on the bed and leaned over to kiss her. The doctor recommended a healthy position. "I heard it all during the pregnancy test." Tongning's ears were slightly red as she spoke in a gentle voice. Perhaps it was because she was pregnant, but her femininity was strong. "So," Mo Ting teased. "I want you," Tongning said as she bit on the mole beside Mo Ting's ear. "As you wish." Tongning had no idea that, after getting pregnant, her skin had become more supple and her figure had become more perfect. She must not have known. Every time Mo Ting hugged her to rest, he couldn't help but want to get closer to her. He couldn't help but want to kiss every inch of her skin. The next morning, the family of 3 were having breakfast in the living room. Xia Yuling glanced at Mo Ting and began to lecture. "You should pay more attention to Mo Ting. Last night, he called you until 3 a.m. Tongning was a little surprised. Although she knew Mo Ting had done something like this, she had no idea it was so late. "It's fine. Let's eat," Mo Ting comforted. "The Swiss representative will be arriving in the morning and Tangkor's meeting will be held in the afternoon. So, you can deal with the Swiss representative first and get your secretary to attend in your place. I know. Tongning nodded. But if something like this happens again, I hope you can carry me to bed. Nothing is more important than you. Are you confident? The Swiss representative won't be easy to deal with. Tongning understood what Mo Ting was asking and knew he was trying to change the subject. So she smiled and replied, "Your wife doesn't only know how to be a model and actress." Chapter 500. 10 a.m. Mo Ting arranged for the representatives from Switzerland to stay at a hotel near Hai. Among them, there were 3 men and 2 women. It seemed they were quite impatient with the trip. Didn't we already avoid the collaboration with Tangkor? Now that the CEO is missing, there's no way we can continue working with them. There are plenty of big names waiting for us to work with. Why did boss insist on us coming to Beijing? One of the representatives asked as he sat on the sofa. Did you think you're the only one that doesn't understand? Even the air is filled with smog when we're in this horrible place. Endure it for a bit. We'll leave after meeting them. The representatives tidied themselves up and were led to the hotel's ballroom by a waiter. But when they arrived, neither the CEO nor Tongning were present at the large dining table. What's going on? Why isn't the representative from Tangkor here? I've never seen the host arrive later than the guests. Is this how Asians behave? The representatives from Switzerland were already frustrated from the trip to Beijing. On top of that, Tangkor's representative was nowhere to be seen. So, they all had unpleasant expressions on their faces. However, 5 minutes later, the doors to the banquet hall were finally pushed open. Tongning, dressed in a black trench coat and a pair of soft flats, stepped into the banquet hall. She greeted them in fluent Italian. "Nice to meet you all." Out of the 5 representatives, only 1 woman stood up and shook hands with Tongning. Meanwhile, the others leaned back and glared at Tongning. According to the attitude of Tangkor, we will never consider working with you again. Let's not talk about the collaboration for now. Let's have a meal first. Tongning continued to smile as she gestured for the waiter to serve the dishes. The expressions on the representatives' faces did not change because of Tongning's words. But, as the waiter placed the dishes in front of them, a look of surprise appeared in their eyes. "How did you know that I like to eat lasagna? This is my favorite coffee biscuit." The representatives never expected that Tongning would know what they liked so well. In fact, they had never told anyone about this before. Seeing this, the representative of Switzerland finally revealed an interested smile. He crossed his arms and asked, "Can I ask you how you found out about our preferences?" "I've looked through everyone's information. Some of it is ready-made, while others are just my guesses." Tongning replied with a smile. "For example, the lady on your right doesn't seem to like drinking water." The woman was stunned for a moment before she nodded her head. "That's right, how did you know?" "That's a secret. Why don't you all try it? We'll talk about it later." Tongning deliberately kept them in suspense to whet their appetites. Afterwards, because they were desperate to know Tongning's answer, they changed their impatient attitude and began to seriously enjoy the delicacies of their hometown. Tongning lowered her head and smiled. However, all she did was drink water the entire time. Half an hour later, the representatives finished their meals. At this time, the Swiss man called Jean put down his cutlery and said to Tongning, "Although we are grateful for your hospitality, we have already decided to give up on Tangkor's case. We simply came here today to give Hai Rui some face." "It's okay, I won't force you. But I have a few sets of data that you can use as a reference." After speaking, Tongning gestured for Song Yenshu to hand out some information to the representatives. "This is Tangkor's sales for the last month of last year. The second set of information is the product that Tangkor is planning to promote in Europe. From what we know, Europeans and Americans have been infatuated with Asian herbs in recent years, but there has always been a gap in this market. Tangkor has always been a pioneer in the perfume industry and has always given preferential treatment to our partners. We have decided to focus on this gap and let you take over the market first." The representatives looked at the information in their hands and threw it to one side in disdain. "There are a lot of big companies that have better offers than yours. Plus, Miss Tang, do you know anything about perfume? What about a year of unpaid endorsements? Tongning blinked and said, as a model, I have quite a bit of fame in Europe. The representatives were a little surprised as they looked at Tongning carefully. A moment later, one of them suddenly realized, are you the famous Asian model Tongning? I'm not exactly a model. So you are the new CEO of Tangkor? The representative's attitude towards Tongning changed slightly. Yes. I thought you looked familiar. So, you really are Tongning, the Asian legend that caused the Oriental trend in the US. And has also appeared in many high-class shows in Europe, one of the female representatives said with a hint of excitement. The female representative gradually found a trace of excitement in her tone. You're really capable. We've all heard of your name. Thank you. Tongning replied humbly. But you still need to answer our question. Do you know anything about perfume? Jean insisted. I don't know anything about perfume, but I know how to give you the best possible return. Tongning replied straightforwardly. After hearing this, the representative finally laughed. I like your honesty. Compared to those that claim to be professional, you are much cuter. It's because I can read minds. That's why I know what you guys like. Would you believe me if I told you that? Tongning asked as she placed her hands on the dining table and supported her chin with her hand. In that case, what do you think I'm thinking about right now? Jean asked as he looked at Tongning with interest. Tongning looked into Jean's eyes in seriousness and replied honestly, I'm thinking about how to continue working with Tangkor after I get back. Jean looked at Tongning in surprise before clapping his hands in approval. What about me? What about me? Tongning looked at the young woman sitting opposite her and replied, you're wondering if you can have another serving of biscuits. How did you know? The woman was also surprised. Because you just lowered your head and asked your colleague if she could have another serving. The woman was shocked by Tongning's thoughtfulness as she gave her a thumbs up. Because of this, Jean directly said to Tongning, let's work together. Tongning spread out her hands in confusion. Miss Tang, didn't you show us your keen observation skills so you could conquer us? I admit you've done it. You are a rare negotiation expert. Jean explained. Your charisma has made me believe that this collaboration with Tangkor will be a pleasant one. Tongning smiled as she stretched out her hand and shook the woman's hand. She understood, after finding out that she was Mo Ting's wife and a famous model. The woman had already realized her value to Tangkor. She simply needed a way out. I'm happy to receive your appreciation. In that case, please come to Tangkor's office this afternoon to discuss the contract. However, I have other work to do, so I'm afraid I won't be able to entertain you. I hope you can understand. Don't mention it. It's okay, please go ahead, Jean said politely. Of course, the woman had no idea that a good show was about to begin that afternoon. Chapter 501. Ningjia, are you really not going to appear this afternoon? Song Yenshu asked as she followed Tongning out of the hotel after lunch. If I reveal the answer now, I won't be able to see Tang Xian's expression afterwards. Tongning wrapped her coat tightly around herself. I never expected Ningjia to be so good at negotiating. Song Yenshu expressed her admiration towards Tongning. Don't say anything else. Take me home and go take care of Luoxing. How's his mood lately? Tongning asked as she boarded the car. Compared to before, he's gotten better at hiding, Song Yenshu replied. But a lot of people have been asking him to sing and his new album is about to be released. As long as he gets busy, he won't have much time to think about the past. Yenshu, although Jingxian hasn't forgotten about that woman, he is the same as me. We are people that will never turn back. His future depends on you, Song Yenshu reminded. Now that my stomach is big, it's inconvenient for me to go anywhere, and I will be appearing in front of the public less and less often. So you need to take good care of Luoxing. I understand. Song Yenshu looked at Tongning and nodded her head in seriousness. But I heard that The Lost Relative is about to be released. Really? Time has passed so quickly. Tongning was silent for a moment as she thought back to all the details of filming the film. You're going to make a big hit again. Tongning stretched out her hand and rubbed her stomach. She was grateful for her perseverance and hard work. Let's resolve the matter with Tang Kor first. Song Yinshu smiled and nodded her head. Okay. It wasn't hard to tell from the look in her eyes that she admired Tongning. This admiration was completely different to the admiration she had for a man. However, Tongning did not return home. Instead, she went straight to Hai Rui and entered Mo Ting's office. The couple looked at each other as Mo Ting immediately stood up from his chair and wrapped his arm around Tongning's waist. I've heard about you. You're a master negotiator. I didn't embarrass you, did I? How could you possibly embarrass me? Mo Ting placed his chin on top of Tongning's head and sighed. I'm sure as long as you are willing, managing Hai Rui will be a piece of cake for you. The couple were familiar with each other's two-faced nature. So, did they need to elaborate further? That afternoon, before another board meeting, Tang Xian received a phone call from Assistant Lung. The reason was that Elder Tang had invited her to attend the meeting. This made it clear to Tang Xian that Elder Tang intended to hand over Tang Kor to her again. My child, I'm counting on you. You have to work hard for me. Tang Xian said excitedly as she rubbed her belly. But just as Tang Xian was about to leave for the meeting, her secretary suddenly knocked on the door and entered. Miss Tang, someone from Switzerland has arrived. They say they are here to discuss a contract. Really? Are you sure you didn't hear wrongly? Tang Xian stood up from her chair as her smile grew brighter. That's right, they came here directly to sign the contract. Let's go and meet someone. Tang Xian had no idea that Jean and the others had been convinced by Tongning. She simply treated it as luck, the good fortune she deserved after enduring for so long. Of course, Jean and the others didn't know Tang Xian's identity. They simply thought she was Tongning's secretary, so they chatted happily. In the end, in order to gain everyone's trust, Tang Xian requested for Jean and the others to appear at the board meeting. Although Jean felt it was a little strange, he still nodded his head. Afterwards, Jean instructed his subordinate to contact Tongning. Only then did Tongning explain the situation to the others. Jean understood Tongning's situation and went to look for Tongning's new secretary. Tongning's new secretary was called Xiao Yuxing. He was a rare talent. He had already spoken to Tongning verbally, so when he saw Jean and the others, he welcomed them politely. How did Miss Tang arrange it? We are happy to help her with anything, Jean said to Xiao Yuxing. Actually, it's nothing much. When the time comes for the board meeting, just tell them the truth and tell them that you reached an agreement through our new CEO. Xiao Yuxing replied humbly. In that case, Miss Tongning doesn't plan to make an appearance. It's not time yet, Xiao Yuxing laughed. Jean thought for a moment and decided to do Tongning a favor. I admire Miss Tongning's charisma. We will definitely help you. After the discussion, it wasn't long before Tang Kor's board meeting began. Now that all the shareholders had arrived, Assistant Lung took Elder Tang's place and arrived at the meeting. Assistant Lung glanced at Tang Xian, but it only lasted for a second before he looked away. Not long after, Assistant Lung pulled out his phone and Elder Tang's voice could be heard. Due to my health, it's not convenient for me to attend. So, Assistant Lung will be announcing an important decision on my behalf. Every word he says will be legally binding, so I hope everyone will respect his decision. The shareholders didn't care who attended the meeting. The main issue was who would be taking over Tang Kor. That's enough, stop keeping us in suspense. As shareholders, we simply want a guarantee. Let's make the announcement. Before that, I have some good news to announce. To make things more stable, Tang Xian immediately stood up and stopped Assistant Lung from speaking. I've already secured the case in Switzerland, and their representative is still waiting in the VIP room outside. Is this true? The shareholders immediately became excited. If this is true, then I can only say that I have a whole new level of respect for the big miss. I can't help but be impressed that she's done so quickly. Look at the big Mississippi. Is this something that actors can do? The board of directors began to compliment Tang Xian one after another, and she happily accepted their compliments. However, Assistant Lung glanced at her and asked, was the big miss the Swiss case? The big miss was the one that settled it? Are you sure? Assistant Lung, what do you mean by that? Nothing. Assistant Lung immediately regained her composure. I know, Assistant Lung, You've always been biased against me and don't believe in my abilities. But it doesn't matter, I can invite him in. When the time comes, you will know whether I'm telling the truth or not. Tang Xian scoffed proudly. Okay, since that's the case, then let them in. After all, they are our business partners. Since they have arrived, we should welcome them warmly, Assistant Lung smiled. I'll go invite them right now personally. After speaking, Tang Xian stood up and walked out of the meeting room. The shareholders waited patiently. A moment later, Tang Xian returned to the meeting room with Jean and the others. Chapter 502. Seeing that Tang Xian had really invited the Switzerland representative into the meeting room, the board members all applauded. After receiving the encouragement from the crowd, Tang Xian seemed to have gained more confidence, and her expression became even more arrogant. It was as if the heavens were helping. Assistant Lung, you saw it with your own eyes. Do you believe it? When Assistant Lung saw the representatives, he immediately turned around and shook hands with them to welcome them. The representative from Switzerland has agreed to sign the contract. He even prepared the contract today. However, Assistant Lung ignored Tang Xian's words as he gestured for Jean and the others to take a seat. The reason I am here today is to announce the chairman's decision. Regarding the madam's situation in Switzerland, Tang Core needs to select a suitable candidate to temporarily take over the role of CEO. Tang Xian secretly clenched her fists. She was ready to take over Tang Core again. Now I will announce the chairman's decision. After speaking, Tang Xian actually stood up on her own and bowed to everyone. I will definitely not let everyone down. I hope you will all believe in me again. Let's welcome the acting president's secretary, Mr. Qiao Yusheng. Assistant Lung ignored Tang Xian as he clapped his hands and looked towards the door. Tang Xian's expression turned ugly. Meanwhile, the board of directors were also shocked by Assistant Lung's announcement. Qiao Yusheng. This man was well known in the world of secret books. Just like Hai Rui's Lu Che, he had an important position in the industry. Then Qiao Yusheng entered the conference room in a suit with a document in his hand. He greeted all the directors solemnly and respectfully. So, does the chairman intend to make Mr. Qiao the acting CEO of Tang Core? Of course not. Qiao Yusheng replied with a smile. I'm just a secretary doing what a secretary should do. Then I don't understand. Who did the chairman appoint? Isn't it the young miss who just made a great contribution? That's right. Missy has just negotiated the Swiss cooperation. Why not let her be the acting CEO? Replace the young miss. With the support of all the directors, Tang Xian spoke with more confidence. Assistant Lung, I want to know what grandfather is thinking. I helped Tang Core resolve such a huge crisis. You? Assistant Lung smiled and said to everyone. Missy, you're too naive. How can there be a free lunch in this world? Did you think the representative from Switzerland would come to his senses and come to Tang Core to sign a contract with you? Shouldn't you be envious of my luck? Assistant Lung sneered before turning to look at Jean. Jean immediately stood up and said in fluent English, I'm sure this miss has misunderstood. I was picked up by the new CEO of Tang Core on a private plane 2 days ago. Yesterday, we had a pleasant lunch together, and she used her charisma to convince me. So, we decided to continue our collaboration with Tang Core. She said she couldn't attend today, so we headed straight to Tang Core. Plus, we thought you were her secretary. After hearing this, Tang Xian's face turned red and white in an extremely awkward manner. Secretary, so he only thought of her as his secretary. How was this possible? The board members who supported Tang Xian were speechless. They felt as if they had been slapped in the face twice. He really thought Tang Xian could achieve something great. Who would have thought that she would actually throw him in front of all the directors? Tang Core is a century-old perfume family. Does the management only rely on luck to run the company? Assistant Lung asked in a stern voice. Considering that the big miss is still around and shouldn't be overworked, the chairman has already arranged for the most suitable candidate. I'm sure everyone has seen her capabilities. She has efficiently and timely recovered everyone's losses. I'm sure everyone has no objections to this new CEO, right? Let's not talk about whether or not anyone has any objections. You should at least tell us who she is. In any case, it's not the big miss, Assistant Lung laughed. He then handed the rest of the work to Qiao Yuxing and led Jean and the others to the VIP room to get some rest. Tang Xian had been humiliated. To be exact, she was feeling ashamed. Her face was so red that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. The acting CEO has a special identity, so she won't be meeting with everyone for a while. However, she has prepared a detailed plan for the future development of Tangkor. Please take a look at it first. She hasn't even appeared yet. How can we trust her? Please take a look first, Qiao Yuxing explained patiently. The directors unwillingly opened up the document. At first, their expressions were filled with disdain, like they didn't have much confidence in this new CEO. But, from the second page onwards, as they looked at the profit potential in detail, they were left speechless. I just want to ask, are these projects going to be launched soon? Haven't you all seen it? These projects are already in the early stages. In that case, I have no objections. Although I don't know who she is, as long as I can make more money, I don't care about anything else. One of the directors immediately stepped forward. As for the big miss, you should just focus on your pregnancy. Think back to when you were in office. Not only did you have a long-term vision and detailed plans, you couldn't even come up with a small project. This is why I would rather support Tongning than the big Mississippi. Although Tongning isn't the one getting elected, it's better than being dragged down by someone else. Didn't the big miss act like she didn't care about the position at first? In the end, she finally revealed her foxtail. Since the new CEO has already resolved Tangkor's crisis, then we have nothing else to say. Everything will be done according to the chairman's wishes. This time, the people that supported Tongning spoke with confidence. Especially when they saw Tang Xian's face, they were more excited than if they had won the lottery. The chairman isn't blind. He can see through people's hearts. I want to see grandfather. Who is the acting CEO? Tang Xian asked as she grabbed onto Qiao Yuxing. The chairman has already gone to Switzerland. His family is in trouble. Only the big miss is still trying to fight for power, Qiao Yuxing replied straightforwardly. I am only responsible for the day-to-day work of the acting CEO. If the big miss wants to see the chairman, you can go to Switzerland. After speaking, Qiao Yuxing turned and left with the document in his hands. The directors also followed suit, leaving behind Tang Xian and a few other shareholders. Big miss, I think you should stop wasting your efforts. After all, the other party is very powerful. That's right, big Mississippi. Although the chairman has put you in a difficult position, I must say that his decisions have always been right. In the end, a 30-something-year-old director walked in. Seeing that Tang Xian was about to burst into tears, he immediately leaned over and whispered into her ear. If you have time, come to my house. I can help you. Tang Xian's face turned red as she turned to the side. He knew that she was in a difficult position, yet he still brought it up. Wasn't he being sarcastic? Chapter 503. Plus, she really wanted to know why her grandfather was treating her like this. So she immediately pulled out her phone and gave Elder Tang a phone call. But he had already turned off his phone. Go to Switzerland. Do you think you'll still be able to find Xia Yuling? In order to keep up with the act, Elder Tang was also at Hyatt Regency. This was his first time at Mo Ting and Tongning's home, so he couldn't help but look around. He could sense that although there were only the two of them, the entire home was filled with warmth and love. I just received a phone call from Secretary Qiao. Everything is going well, Tongning said as she put down her phone. Xiaoning, it's best if you don't use your phone too often. It has radiation and isn't good for the baby. Xia Yuling's heart ached as she removed Tongning's phone. That woman didn't get her way today, so she will definitely think of another way. There's no way she'll give up so easily. Elder Tang now referred to Tang Xian as that woman, and no longer treated her as his granddaughter. No matter what she does, she won't be able to escape from Xiaoning's control, Xia Yuling scoffed. If she was a stranger, we would have already dealt with her. Yet, this woman is related to you by blood. Today's humiliation is just the beginning. Tongning looked down at Tangkor's information. But the words that came out of her mouth were filled with danger and a deeper meaning. It was just the beginning. Tang Xian wanted to control her uterus, but she wanted to turn Tang Xian's life upside down. Let's see who was better at playing. Grandfather and Mom, let's go out and relax for a few days. I will take care of Tang Xian. Don't be too stubborn. Mo Ting will be heartbroken. Tongning finally lifted her head and nodded at the two. I know better than anyone. Isn't Jingxian going to hold a fan concert? Do you have any way of getting tickets to the event? We want to go and listen. It was rare for the old man to have this time. He also wanted to try hanging out with the young people. He didn't know when it started. He originally thought that these entertainment things were only decadent and couldn't be put on the table. However, now that he saw his granddaughter and grandson being loved by so many people, a sense of pride actually arose spontaneously. I'll go too. Okay, Tongning agreed. Afterwards, she gave Tang Jingxian a phone call. Mom and grandfather want to go to your fan club concert. Do as you see fit. I will get Yenshu to prepare a VIP room for them. But can grandfather's heart handle the noise? You underestimate your grandfather. Tongning couldn't help but smile. Sis WH has already been announced for release. I've seen the trailer and it was really shocking. So, I hope you can return to the film industry. This time, Tongning did not say a word as she hung up the phone. Ningjie knows what she's doing. You don't need to worry about her. Right now, your task is to prepare for the concert. By the way, I heard that Xia Jingyi's case will be heard soon. I have to congratulate her for that. After Tang Jingxian finished speaking, there was no reply from behind him for quite some time. By the time Tang Jingxian turned around out of curiosity, he found Song Yenshu leaning against the wall with her hand on her forehead, moaning in pain. What happened? Perhaps I've been too tired lately, Song Yenshu replied. I'll be fine after a nap at home. Do you really think of yourself as King Kong? My sister is my sister. Do you think she's willing to risk her life for the sake of work? She loves herself more than anyone. If you want to be like her, you need to learn how to take care of yourself. After speaking, Tang Jingxian lifted Song Yenshu in his arms and placed her on his bed. You can sleep here. If something happens, I can take care of you. But there are no buts. Yenshu, during my most difficult times, you were by my side. I was willing to give up everything else. So, I will never abandon you. Song Yenshu was a little surprised. She did not say another word as she closed her eyes peacefully. Not long after, she fell asleep. Tang Jingxian watched as Song Yenshu slept soundly. He suddenly wondered why this woman was so stubborn and unwilling to admit defeat. Not only was she stubborn, she was always thinking of others. Idiot. Meanwhile, after Tang Xian's defeat, she had become the laughingstock of Tangkor. Wherever she went, people would point fingers at her. I thought the big miss would change after being kicked out of the Tang family. Who would have thought that she would still be so greedy for power? The collaboration in Switzerland this time is enough to make the entire company laugh at us for an entire year. Haha, this is so funny. I thought they would deliver themselves to us. Why is the big miss becoming more and more of an idiot? Has she gone crazy from being pregnant? After hearing these rumors, Tang Xian clenched her fists. She had never been humiliated like this. She had never been laughed at by the people of Tangkor. Could it be that Grandpa's concern for her was fake? Afterwards, Tang Xian continued to call Elder Tang. To her surprise, his phone was turned on and he picked up. Grandfather. Oh, Xiaoxian? Why are you looking for grandfather? Elder Tang asked even though he already knew the answer. Why did you hand over control of Tangkor to someone else? Haven't I worked hard enough? Tang Xian asked straightforwardly. I know I've hurt you in the past, but I've turned over a new leaf. Why won't you give me a chance? Turned over a new leaf? Didn't she become even worse? Xiaoxian, grandfather is currently in Switzerland, so he can't hear what you're saying. If there's anything you want to say, wait until I'm back. Grandfather. Tang Xian had no one to complain to, so she called the Zhong family home again. Mom, the board of directors, I didn't become the acting CEO. What's wrong with you? Mother Zhong asked angrily. I've done so much for you and paved such a long path for you. How could I still fail? I was hoping that you would fork out some money to help the Zhong family. What's wrong with the Zhong family? Tang Xian immediately sensed that Mother Zhong's words had a hidden meaning. It's because of the previous problem. You and my husband are both being investigated. I don't know if we can get past this time. Everything was fine, yet we were suddenly found to be in possession of illegal drugs. Perhaps, Mother Zhong would never find out who was pulling the strings behind the scenes. Just like how she thought no one knew that she had instigated Tang Xian to remove Tongning's uterus. Could they get past this time? There was no need to think too much about it. Of course, they couldn't get past this time. Who told them to hurt Mo Ting's wife and child? In that case, what should I do now? Xiaoxian, the Zhong family is currently in a crisis. Think of a way to get some money from the Tang family, Mother Zhong suddenly requested. Mother Zhong suddenly made a request. Mom promises that after this matter is over, Mom will fulfill your wish. Mom, I don't have access to the finance department. Tang Xian rejected carefully. Then let's die together. Mother Zhong yelled viciously. Chapter 504. If you want to die, then go ahead and die. Why should I die? Tang Xian hung up the phone with reddened eyes. After lowering her head and calming herself down, she held back her embarrassment and walked out of the office. But as long as Tongning wasn't the first to sit in that position, she wasn't considered to have lost. There was always a way. Soon Tangcor's annual product launch would be held. This was her chance. She refused to believe that she wouldn't be able to sit in the highest position in Tangcor. Over the past few days, Hai Rui had been focusing on promoting W.H. Although they had previously released a 10-second trailer, this time, they released 3 different versions of the film. In fact, each version was 30 seconds long. This time, whether it was the cast or the theme of the film, it was highly anticipated by the audience. With her experience in Stupid and her stunning acting, she had already won over the expectations that film fans had for an actress. She was someone that could be trusted. I've already watched the trailer for W.H. more than 20 times. Let's hurry and release the film. Watching Tongning and Bai Chendong act in this film is like watching a European or American blockbuster. The two of them never act with the burden of being idols. They do whatever they want. It's so comforting. I must go to the cinema and watch this film 3 times. I hope W.H. can become a benchmark for our domestic disaster films. I also hope Tongning can return to film as soon as possible. We miss you. The scene of Tongning retreating from filming was still fresh in everyone's mind. At the same time, the release of W.H. also caused a lot of fans to become excited. Have the people that slandered Tongning apologized? How dare they force such a good actress to leave? They are all idiots that push others aside when they can't do it themselves. Disgusting. Ever since Tongning announced her retreat from filming, I completely hated the person on that list. I would rather like someone than a bunch of disgusting people. In the end, W.H. was released on December 6th. It wasn't uncommon for a film to become popular before its release. For example, a lot of Hollywood blockbusters found it hard to get a ticket before their release. But the popularity of W.H. did not pale in comparison to a European or American blockbuster. Under these circumstances, the screening schedule was no longer as strict as it was with Stupid. After all, even without Tongning, Bai Chendong was still a guarantee of the box office. It was because of this situation that Tang Xian was under the illusion that Tongning was still focused on the entertainment industry and had no intention of stealing Tangcor. However, the more famous Tongning became, the more jealous she became. They were both part of the Tang family, so why did Tongning deserve to be doted on? This only made her heart more ruthless. During this time, Tang Xian once again received an invitation from the director. At first, she thought the other party was deliberately mocking and teasing her. But when the other party directly asked if she wanted to win, Tang Xian's heart followed these few words and fell into the abyss of desire. Keep the appointment. 3 p.m., Hai Rui CEO's office. Mo Ting was handling some work as Lu Che stood beside him and reported. News of the Zhong family being investigated has been released. I don't think they will survive past this month. I want to see the Zhong family go bankrupt, Mo Ting said coldly. Don't worry, President. However, if the Zhong family goes bankrupt, the Tang family may be implicated as well. Do you think my wife is easy to deal with? Lu Che looked into Mo Ting's eyes and chuckled. That's right, with Tang Ning around. Was there anything she couldn't solve? Above all, Tang Ning had their president backing her up. The couple were both ruthless characters that no one dared to offend. In that case, regarding the Fei Tian Awards, should I nominate the madam for Best Supporting Actress in Stupid, or Best Newcomer in W.H.? Do you need to ask me a question like this? Mo Ting asked as he lifted his head. I understand. Mo Ting had always placed Tang Ning first. So when he applied for the Fei Tian Awards, he was obviously aiming for the Best Newcomer award. Although Tang Ning's performance in Stupid was quite impressive, she was still a supporting character. So, even if Stupid meant a lot to her, Mo Ting hoped that the awards he sent to Tang Ning would be the best. That night, the cold wind blew. Mo Ting returned home to find Tang Ning sitting in the study room with her head in her hands, deep in thought. As soon as she saw Mo Ting, a look of surprise appeared in Tang Ning's eyes. It was this look of reliance that made Mo Ting feel extremely happy. Even if he had to sacrifice his life for the Tang Ning in front of him, he was willing to do so. You're finally back. Did you encounter a problem? Mo Ting immediately ran over and hugged her. Tang Cor's product launch requires VIPs to be the main guests. But Tang Cor has been around for so many years and has so many VIPs, I don't have a choice. Are you afraid of offending someone? Mo Ting chuckled as he looked at the list of names in his hands. Honey, don't be afraid of anything. Let's rank them according to how much they spend, and only choose the top 20. Not only will they be able to attend the product launch, they will also be the first to enjoy the perfume. That way, the rest of the VIPs will work hard to create wealth for us in order to be invited to next year's product launch, Tang Ning smiled. Once pregnant, I must be stupid for 3 years. Business has never been easy. No matter how capable you are, you've never fought in the business world before. So when it comes to problems, you can only see the surface, Mo Ting comforted. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Let's call it a day. Let's get some rest, okay? Tang Ning wrapped her arms around Mo Ting's neck and nodded. I only listen to you. Mo Ting smiled gently as he carried Tang Ning to the bedroom. Before he left, he asked again. Are you planning to reveal your identity at the product launch? No rush, the time is not right yet. I like to see Tang Xian get her way. I haven't had my fill yet. Late at night, Tang Xian's figure appeared in the hallway of a certain hotel. She covered herself up tightly and carefully entered room 3436 of the hotel. You're here. The man held a glass of red wine in his hand. As soon as he saw Tang Xian, he turned around and looked at her. I knew you would come to my side sooner or later. Can you really help me? Tang Xian stood cautiously by the door. What's so difficult about it? The man let out a gentle laugh and put down his wine glass. He then walked over to Tang Xian and pulled her into his embrace. Right now, the Zhong family is in a precarious situation. You need to immediately sever all ties with the Zhong family. You can't keep the child in your stomach either. Chapter 505. Why should I trust you? Tang Xian didn't dare to take the risk. This man was so dangerous that he had already threatened her family. Come, Xiao Xian, tell me. Do you really not know that you are currently in the middle of a conspiracy? The Zhong family is currently on the verge of bankruptcy. According to the Zhong family's personality, when you take over Tangkor, do you think you will have a good life? What's more? The man pursed his lips into a smile that was both elegant and deep. Behind his glasses, his eyes were extremely charming. The Tang family doesn't care about you at all. Why are you helping me? This was what Tang Xian was most curious about. Because I like to win. After speaking, the man put down his wine glass and introduced himself in seriousness. My name is Lin Xiaoyuan and I work in the jewelry industry. My wife passed away a year ago and I have a 3-year-old son. Do you want to know more about me? I just joined the board of directors of Tangkor. For some reason, Tang Xian felt a deep sense of fear towards this man. But she couldn't help but be attracted by the dangerous aura he exuded because he seemed unfathomable. At the same time, she understood that the reason why Tongning was where she was today was because she had Mo Ting supporting her. To have a capable man, wasn't that more important than anything else? Listen to me. You need to break away from the Zhong family right now. As for the child, you can use it to deal with Tongning. Tang Xian froze as she stared straight at the man. However, the man simply smiled. Tang Xian couldn't help but take a few steps back. She originally wanted to escape, but the man's charisma made it difficult for her to take a single step. It was like there was a voice in her heart telling her to agree. As long as she agreed, there was still hope. Xiao Xian. From this moment onwards, Tang Xian forgot about the devil's contract. When her ambition was driven by someone else, the evil within her made her lose her mind. News of both the Zhong family's representatives being investigated had already spread throughout Beijing. As the news spread like wildfire, it meant that the Zhong family was about to declare bankruptcy. In order to rescue her husband and son, Mother Zhong tried everything she could think of. But this time, the higher-ups were extremely strict and didn't give her any room to maneuver. The attacks came fast and fierce, and she had already spent quite a bit of the Zhong family's savings. In the end, she decided to use Tang Core and couldn't wait to meet with Tang Xian. Of course, Tang Xian showed up. However, her expression was different from before. Xiao Xian, now is the time for you to show your loyalty. Our Zhong family has married you, so you must be of some use. Hurry up and think of a way to get some money. I need it urgently. Tang Xian crossed her arms and looked at Mother Zhong. She then let out a gentle laugh. It's not that I don't want to help. It's that I don't have the ability. Mom, as you can see, I haven't received any benefits from the Tang family. You still have shares in Tangcore. Mom, what are you talking about? Aren't we a family? At this time, Mother Zhong played the family card. While you were being despised by everyone, the Zhong family still accepted you. How can you not feel grateful at all? The Zhong family did not abandon me. That was because they were afraid of being called heartless. Don't you know how many mistresses your son has found on the outside? Tang Xian scoffed. There's no need to pretend to be kind. At a time like this, let's be honest. After speaking, Tang Xian pulled out a stack of photos from her handbag and handed them to Mother Zhong. What do you mean? What I mean is simple. Get your son to sign the divorce papers, and we will part ways from now on. Otherwise, if your son cheats on me while I'm pregnant, you know what the consequences will be. Tang Xian said coldly. A long time ago, she had wanted to say this to Mother Zhong and throw the photos in her face. Now that she could finally do it, her heart was filled with joy. Mother Zhong's expression was ugly. She never expected that Tang Xian would have this trick up her sleeve. Tang Xian actually had a way out. In fact, she did it while the entire family was in trouble. Tang Xian, you've really surprised me. Mother Zhong sneered as she held onto the photos. Good, very good. You want a divorce, right? I'll fulfill your wish, you shameless slut. After speaking, Mother Zhong was about to stand up from her seat, but Tang Xian beat her to it. After being humiliated by you in the past, it's time to return the favor. I hope the Zhong family closes down soon. Don't think that just because you've gotten rid of us, you can win against Tongning. To be honest, compared to Tongning, you are like mud to the clouds. The only reason Tongning has gotten to where she is today is because her scheming methods are many times better than yours. Just wait and see. Your time of misery will come. Tang Xian scoffed as she left the cafe and boarded the car that Lin Xiaoyuan had sent to pick her up. Mother Zhong was naturally furious. She had lived her entire life, yet she was being humiliated by a slut like Tang Xian. But she still had to save Tongning. However, just as Mother Zhong was about to leave the cafe, a man carrying a briefcase suddenly approached her and said, "Hello, Mrs. Zhong. I don't know you, but I do know you. I can help Zhongcore." The young man smiled as he sat down in front of Mother Zhong. Let's have a chat. Perhaps I can bring you some good news. There is no good person in this world. If you leave, you may miss your only chance to save your husband and son. The man was not in a rush as he held Mother Zhong back. Mother Zhong froze for a moment before she sat back down. I'll buy your shares in Zhong Enterprises in exchange for the freedom of your husband and son. You have to know that not everyone who pays has the ability to let your son and husband see the light of day again. Mother Zhong lowered her head and thought for a moment before asking, So I only need to sell my shares? Of course. The young man smiled as he shrugged. The contract can state this clearly. You don't need to worry about it. Okay, I agree. When will it be done? You will definitely see your husband and son within 3 days. The young man put away his documents and stood up. But just as he was about to leave, Mother Zhong held him back. I have one last question. How do you know so much about the Zhong family? I'm not afraid to tell you the truth, Mrs. Zhong. Did you offend someone recently that you don't even know about? The young man turned around and smiled. Mother Zhong was stunned, but she did not say a word. She had no idea. It seems I need to remind you. Who did you suggest to remove your uterus? Hearing this, Mother Zhong's eyes widened in shock. In that case, everything that Tang Xian has done. President Mo is well aware of it. But I'm sure you wouldn't remind Tang Xian, right? Chapter 506. She finally heard this name. President Mo. It wasn't anyone else, it was Tang Ning's husband, the CEO of Hairui, Mo Ting. Thinking of this, Mother Zhong felt a chill down her spine. It turned out, her flawless plan had already been seen through by Mo Ting. Yet, the Zhong family had been played by Mo Ting without any ability to retaliate. If she had known Mo Ting was this scary, she would not have provoked Tang Ning. After all, so much time had passed since Tang Ning had been framed. Yet the Zhong family were slowly falling into Mo Ting's trap. Although Mo Ting was known to dote on his wife ever since he got together with Tang Ning, it did not change his ruthless nature. His gentleness, from start to finish, only revolved around Tang Ning. Mrs. Zhong, let me remind you, if the Zhong family still want to do something, I definitely won't do it again. Mother Zhong immediately waved her hands. After being warned by Mo Ting, how could she dare to provoke Tang Ning again? The person our president loves the most in this world is the madam. Yet, someone had to hurt the madam. Our president has always said that if they want to cause trouble for him, he will deal with them at any time. But if they want to cause trouble for the madam, I'm sorry, he will make sure they die a horrible death. After speaking, the young man grabbed his briefcase and left, leaving Mother Zhong in disbelief. Oh God! Only now did she realize how scary Mo Ting was. Most importantly, Tang Xian still wanted to fight with Tang Ning. If Mo Ting already knew about the incident at the hospital, then Tang Xian must have been under his control. Did she still think she could climb to the top of Tang Core? Tang Xian, let's wait and see what happens to her. After the matter with the Zhong family was settled, Mo Ting simply listened to the results. After confirming that everything was going smoothly, he simply said one thing to the young lawyer. After we get our hands on the shares, sell them to the Zhong family's competitor. He was sure this kind of torture would drive the Zhong family crazy. For the sake of him and Tang Ning's baby, he didn't kill them. Mo Ting believed he had left some leeway and a bottom line. He left some leeway. If the Zhong family found out that Mo Ting left some leeway, would they cry or laugh to death? A few days passed, but there was still no news of Xia Yuling. Under the leadership of the acting CEO, Tang Core remained stable. At this time, Elder Tang returned from Switzerland empty-handed. Seeing the old man enter the house, Tang Xian took the opportunity to kneel in front of him with tears in her eyes. Xiao Xian, what are you doing? Elder Tang hurriedly knelt down and asked. Grandfather, at this shareholders' meeting, I've overstepped my boundaries again. It's not that I wanted to become the acting CEO. I was simply worried about Tang Core's predicament. Grandfather, please don't blame me. Tang Xian apologized sincerely. I know you're worried about Tang Core, but you can't hurt my great-grandson. Elder Tang helped Tang Xian up. Someone will take care of Tang Core. You just need to focus on getting better. Don't worry about anything else. But I've embarrassed myself this time. Tang Xian pointed at the joke everyone in the company had towards her. The old man shook his head and waved his hand. It's nothing. Don't take it to heart. But Grandpa, am I really so useless? Don't tell me I can't be of any use to Tang Kor? Elder Tang immediately tried to figure out the meaning behind Tang Xian's words. All of a sudden, he couldn't figure out what she was planning. Grandfather, let me go to the planning department to study. Go to the planning department? Elder Tang thought for a moment. In the end, he used Tang Xian's pregnancy as an excuse to reject her suggestion. After you give birth, you can go to any department you want. But for now, you better stay at home and take care of your baby. Originally, Elder Tang thought that Tang Xian would continue to argue. But to his surprise, she actually nodded her head. Okay. Since grandfather thinks I should rest, then I will focus on taking care of myself and the baby. Elder Tang looked at Tang Xian and did not say another word. He knew that underneath Tang Xian's innocent appearance was a heart as vicious as a snake's. By the way, grandfather, I'm getting a divorce. What? As soon as Elder Tang heard this news, he froze. Although he knew that the Zhong family wasn't a good family, Tang Xian was the one that insisted on joining the Zhong family. After so many years of entanglement, nothing came of it. Yet, she suddenly calmly decided to get a divorce? This didn't seem like Tang Xian's style. The Zhong family is currently in danger, yet they keep asking me for money. I can't take it anymore, so I asked for a divorce. Elder Tang did not say a word as he turned around and entered the study room. Not long after, he gave Tangning a phone call and told her everything about Tang Xian. Xiaoning, grandfather feels that something isn't right. Tangning also knew that something wasn't right. Not only was it impossible for Tang Xian to get a divorce, even if she was brave and clear-headed, it wouldn't be easy for her to get rid of the Zhong family. At least, it shouldn't have been handled in such a simple manner. Grandfather, be careful, Tangning reminded. I know, don't worry. After hearing Elder Tang's promise, Tangning put down her phone in a daze. If she allowed Tang Xian to escape like this, then she wasn't the cautious Tangning that she knew. According to reports, the person in charge of Tang Kor, Xia Yuling, has yet to receive any news. It seems, a storm of blood is about to descend upon Tang Kor. In addition, Tangning's disaster film, W.H., will be released in theaters on December 4th. This film has been a hit even before it has been released, and fans are looking forward to it. At the same time, I hope Tangning can find her mother soon and return to the film industry as soon as possible. I'm sure everyone misses her a lot. Although Tangning was no longer on the TV, she was still a popular figure in the headlines. After all, this extraordinary woman never played by the rules. She always used her own method to carve out one path after another that belonged to her. We would like to announce a piece of news related to Tang Kor. According to reports, just before Tang Kor's product launch, the industry surprisingly released a list of VIP invitations for Tang Kor's product launch. I'm not sure who leaked this information, but the release of this list will definitely cause discomfort among consumers, especially the VIP users. Tang Kor has yet to respond to this news. As a result, the severity of the situation continues to escalate. The VIP invitations had been leaked. Chapter 507. After hearing about this, Elder Tang suddenly understood why Tang Xian was willing to leave Tang Kor and return home to get some rest. This way, she would be able to wash her hands clean of the matter, and no one would suspect her again. But to the Tang family, no matter what Tang Xian did, it was all a cover-up. Because her ugly mask had long been torn to shreds in front of the Tang family. President Tang, how should we deal with this matter? Qiao Yuxing gave Tangning a phone call. This incident has caused a lot of VIP customers to feel uncomfortable, and they are very conflicted. Of course, they were all spending money, so why did these people get priority? The information was leaked from the planning department, so we haven't found any clues yet. Plus, these VIP customers have been the foundation of Tang Kor for many years. Now that they have been affected, President Tang, you may be in trouble. I will think of a way to deal with it. Tangning remained calm in the face of danger. This surprised Qiao Yuxing a little. He felt the matter was extremely tricky and difficult to deal with. But Tangning's reaction was normal. Plenty of VIP customers even called Tang Core to make things difficult for them. In fact, quite a few even called Tang Xian's phone. At this time, Tang Xian simply replied pitifully, "I'm sorry, I'm currently on maternity leave. I won't interfere with Tang Core's matters." "Sorry, this is the decision of the acting CEO. I have no right to interfere. The acting CEO has decided to rank the top 20 according to the amount of money spent." "What bullshit, acting CEO. Tell her to come out and meet with her old customers. If Tang Core doesn't show some sincerity this time, who would buy your perfume from now on? It's simply too shameless." As the person behind the scenes that deepened the conflict between the customers and Tang Core, Tang Xian played an important role. As a result, Tang Core received a lot of requests for refunds, all because of a single VIP invitation that was leaked. Just like Qiao Yuxing said, Tongning had truly shaken the foundation of Tang Core. Tang Xian couldn't wait to see how the acting CEO was going to clean up this mess. Speaking of which, Lin Xiaoyuan's methods were indeed smarter and more vicious than hers. In fact, he was able to hit the nail on the head. The board of directors of Tang Core couldn't avoid another heated discussion. This time, Tang Xian wasn't present. But as one of the shareholders, Lin Xiaoyuan requested to see the acting CEO and give him a satisfactory explanation. Although the incident in Switzerland had been narrowly averted, it didn't mean that they still trusted this mysterious person. It's useless even if the chairman shows up this time. If we don't see this person, we won't be able to feel at ease. Tang Core has never made such a big mistake before. This time, they've offended all of their VIP clients. Tang Core has built up over the years, yet they've been dealt a heavy blow because of a name list. How infuriating and laughable. What is the acting CEO doing? How could she allow something so important to be leaked? Although they would still find out during the press conference, the fact that she was a VIP in front of the cameras would only make those that weren't invited secretly compete in their hearts. The next time she was invited, she would definitely appear at the press conference. Or, she would get priority on the new perfume. She wouldn't end up like this, feeling like she was given a fake list of names. Where was Tang Core's rigor? Where was Tang Core's style? I don't want to hear about this. I want the Tang family to give me an explanation. Whether it's the chairman, the big miss or the mysterious acting CEO, I want an answer. I've already contacted the big Mississippi. She should be arriving soon. As one of the shareholders, let's hear what she has to say first. Lin Xiaoyuan said in a deep tone as he crossed his arms. In reality, this was part of his plan. He wanted Tang Xian to step out and solve the problem, so that she could rebuild her reputation in front of the shareholders. But does the big miss have the right to speak? One of the board members questioned. At least she's a member of the Tang family, Lin Xiaoyuan laughed. Don't tell me you have a more suitable candidate in mind? No one said another word. A moment later, Tang Xian arrived at Tang Core's meeting room. As soon as her eyes met Lin Xiaoyuan's, she quickly looked away and pretended to be innocent. What's going on? Big miss, what is the chairman trying to do? Tang Core is currently in a precarious situation. Something big happens every few days. Is he trying to make life difficult for us shareholders? Grandfather told me to stay at home and rest, so I'm not sure, Tang Xian replied. Are you still a family? How could you not know anything? I'm finding it harder and harder to understand the chairman. The board members began to express their dissatisfaction. I only have one thing to say today. Either the chairman or the acting CEO steps in. Stop wasting everyone's time. I think the chairman is getting old. Lin Xiaoyuan's voice was particularly raspy and deep. If he can't make the right judgment anymore, I suggest he step down from his position. That's right. Director Lin, are you brave enough to say something like this in front of the chairman? One of the board members deliberately questioned Lin Xiaoyuan with a mocking smile. Of course I'm brave enough. Lin Xiaoyuan replied calmly. The other party did not hesitate as he immediately gave Elder Tang a phone call and placed it in the middle of the conference table. Chairman Tang. We are currently having a board meeting. But on the other side of the phone, Elder Tang was fishing. What's the matter? You can speak to the acting CEO. I'm busy. Chairman Tang. Tang Kor is in such a big mess, yet you're still in the mood to fish. What? You don't trust the person I'm looking for? She's on her way, and will meet with you in a moment. If you want to settle a score or something else, you can speak to her directly. As soon as Elder Tang finished speaking, a series of beeps sounded from the other side of the phone. Everyone's expression turned serious as they received a very important hint. The legendary acting CEO was actually on her way. In other words, they were about to find out who she was. Since Chairman Tang has said so, then let's wait a little longer. I want to see what this acting CEO has up her sleeves. Lin Xiaoyuan and Tang Xian looked at each other. All of a sudden, they did not expect the situation to develop in such a way. After all, their opponent was not going to wait for them to plot against them. Although Lin Xiaoyuan's eyes were still filled with comfort, the more chaotic Tang Kor was, the greater their chances were. Chapter 508. This was the first time Tongning had worn office wear. She wore a white sweater with a brown coat wrapped around her figure. Of course, it was necessary to cover up her pregnancy. Mo Ting had put in a lot of effort. In order to look more capable, Tongning wore pearl earrings and tied her long hair to the back of her head, adding a sense of coldness to her image. Are you sure you don't need me to accompany you? Mo Ting asked worriedly as he blocked Tongning's way. No need. Tongning nodded her head confidently. Don't worry, Secretary Qiao is here. I will keep an eye on you. Mo Ting gently stroked her cheek and whispered in her ear. Have I ever told you that you look good as a domineering CEO? It's not too late to tell me now. After speaking, Tongning placed a kiss on Mo Ting's cheek. Go on. Have fun. Mo Ting defined Tongning's trip to Tang Kor as a fun trip. She was going with the intention of teasing Tang Xian. So what if she revealed the VIP list? Did she think that was enough to threaten her? How naive. But it was time for her to witness Tang Xian's shocked expression. Inside Tang Kor's meeting room, everyone was still waiting anxiously. Everyone sat in their seats with different expressions on their faces. It seemed every second that passed was wearing down their patience. Someone even looked at their watch and yelled, "How much longer do we have to wait? It's already been an hour. Are they coming or not? Let's wait a little longer." At this time, Lin Xiaoyuan displayed an extraordinary level of patience and calmed the other shareholders down. Soon the sound of knocking could be heard. Everyone turned to look at the door. A moment later, the door swung open and everyone looked at Tongning confusedly. "Third Miss? What are you doing here? We are in the middle of a meeting. This is not an audition venue. Hurry and leave." A shareholder that had never accepted Tongning's identity mocked. "I'm also a shareholder, right?" Tongning asked. "Third Miss, we are currently in the middle of a very important discussion. Could you excuse us for a moment? I'm also here for a meeting." Tongning walked into the meeting room with a smile on her face. Just as she was about to sit down in the chairman's seat, Tang Xian immediately stood up and said to her, "Tongning, everyone is frowning right now. No one is joking with you. Since you are a part of the Tang family, you should know where you are. Get out of here." However, she had never felt embarrassed about being the daughter of a mistress. Hearing this, no one said a word. Tongning did not say a word either. She simply walked around the table and walked over to Tang Xian's seat. She then lifted her hand and threw a slap across her face. All they heard was a crisp slap. Everyone was shocked by Tongning's slap. Tang Xian looked at Tongning in disbelief, but Tongning did not say a word. She simply walked over to the chairman's seat and sat down. She then said to everyone, "Let's start the meeting. I am the acting CEO that all of you have been longing to see, Tongning." Tongning replied to everyone coldly, "Tongning." It was actually Tongning. As soon as this result was announced, everyone had a complicated expression on their faces. Some were happy, some were sad. Of course, Tongning already had a rough idea of what these people were thinking. "Chairman, are you joking? How could you let an actress point her around? Tang Kor has been completely disgraced." Seeing the older generation of directors stand up, Tongning laughed and asked, "Do you think I've embarrassed you? I've caused the Oriental trend. appeared on the European and American stage, received a contribution award and rejected Hollywood. Have I embarrassed your family? Chairman Yao, conservative thinking is not good for business. From what I know, your home appliances company has just been taken off the market, right? Everyone was stunned as the older director's face turned red. What surprised everyone was that Tongning had actually changed her usual aloof image and displayed her resolute and tough side. Of course, this was something she learned from Mo Ting at home. If the boss of a corporation couldn't intimidate others with his aura, then who would listen to him? I know you all want to cause trouble for me, but there's no rush. Let's start the meeting first. Why did you want to see me? Where? Don't you know that the VIP list for Tangkor's new product launch has been leaked? What VIP list? Tongning pretended not to understand. I know something like this has been leaked. But where did this list come from? Has it been approved by me? Everyone suddenly wondered what Tongning had up her sleeves. What do you mean? The new product launch is the most important day of the year for Tangkor. As for the VIP list, we are extremely cautious. How did a VIP list that none of you have seen get leaked? Has it been approved by the board of directors? Tongning explained with a smile. Seeing no one responded, Tongning's voice once again turned sharp and cold. I would like to ask everyone here, how much mess do you want me to make before you give up? What right does an actress like you have to order us around? I would also like to know what you are planning to do while my mother isn't around. Tongning asked in a loud voice. If you are so capable, then go ahead and save Tangkor's reputation. As long as you solve the problem of the VIP list being leaked, I will be convinced. That's right, the most important thing right now is to solve the problem of the list being leaked. Tang Xian looked at Tongning. She had obviously been slapped in the face, but she couldn't find a chance to retaliate. Tongning acted like she had swatted away an annoying fly, completely ignoring her. It turned out, grandfather had really handed Tongning all the power. You don't need to worry about this. Tonight, I will give everyone an explanation. I will also show you the difference between Tang Xian and I, Tongning said confidently. Fine, if you can't do it, then get out of Tangkor and never appear in front of us again. After speaking, the elderly director angrily stormed out of the room. Quite a few people followed suit. Of course, the meeting ended on a sour note. Afterwards, only Tang Xian and Tongning remained in the spacious room. Their eyes met. Tongning's gaze contained a depth that Tang Xian couldn't understand. What do you think? Are you surprised to see me? Tang Xian glared at Tongning as she clenched her fists. I can't help it. I've retreated from the industry and have a lot of free time, so I decided to help manage Tangkor. I'm sure this is what you want to see. Chapter 509. Tongning was hinting that Tang Xian had shot herself in the foot when she retreated from the entertainment industry. My existence must be making every moment unbearable for you, right? Tongning took a step towards Tang Xian. Her perfect figure created a sense of pressure as she leaned in and whispered in Tang Xian's ear. This is just the beginning. Once upon a time, when I couldn't be bothered to compete with you, you kept pushing me. I had no choice but to stop everything I was doing and play games with you so I wouldn't let you down. After speaking, Tongning took a few steps back and admired the change in Tang Xian's expression. She then smiled beautifully. From the day that Tongning made her comeback, she had announced to the entire world that she would not offend those that didn't offend her. Since someone had offended her, even if that person had to hide at the ends of the earth, even if she had to chase them to the end of the world, she would still make them pay. Tang Xian glared at Tongning. But in terms of presence, she had already lost to Tongning. Afterwards, Tongning left, leaving Tang Xian alone in the meeting room. She stared at the chairman's seat and trembled. Of course, since Tongning had already made an appearance, news quickly spread throughout Tangkor. Oh God, the acting CEO is actually Tongning. Doesn't that mean we'll get to see her more often? I wonder if we can get an autograph. I've always wanted to see what the successful Tongning in the entertainment industry would be like if she were to manage Tangkor. Oh God, Tongning is going to become a new generation of inspirational goddesses. If she can manage Tangkor in an orderly manner, Is there anything in this world that she can't do? There's going to be a good show. Let's sit back and wait for Tongning to deal with the VIP list leak. The staff at Tangkor had already begun their internal discussions. But unlike the stubborn higher-ups, the employees were filled with excitement and anticipation for Tongning to take on the role of acting CEO. Especially since Tangkor was currently in troubled times. The leak of the VIP list had hurt many of Tangkor's loyal customers. But when they thought about how Tongning always managed to turn the situation around, they couldn't wait to see how Tongning was going to turn this crisis into an opportunity. Luckily, Tang Xian didn't read the internal news of Tangkor. Otherwise, she would definitely be furious. Everyone had placed too much importance on this matter. If the matter blew up too much, it would be troublesome to deal with. But they had forgotten that the root of the matter was Tangkor's standards and the attitude that their clients needed. Since it was the standard, he would return to the bottom line. Seeing his wife working hard, Mo Ting smiled warmly. He understood his wife well. She never fought a battle she wasn't confident in. Her mind was filled with wisdom. It didn't take long before Tongning sorted out the sequence of events and approached Mo Ting with the information in her hands. What do you think of me doing this? Mo Ting turned around his office chair and received the documents from her hands. After looking through her entire plan, he suddenly laughed. It's a very complete plan, Ning. Actually, you don't need to ask me about something like this. No, I must ask you. I know. As long as you nod your head, I will feel safe, Tongning replied. Mo Ting felt a great sense of satisfaction. He didn't know why, but whenever he faced Tongning, his heart would still burn with passion. That's because you're used to relying on me. You don't like my habit? Tongning raised her eyebrows. I like it so much that I can't help myself. He loved her so much that he couldn't help himself. Tongning had already become a hot topic because of the release of W.H. Now with her appointment as the acting CEO of Tangkor, she once again shocked the netizens. In fact, many people that didn't understand the business world, or didn't like the business world, immediately focused their attention on her. After all, not everyone could succeed in a different industry. Tongning already had the identity of a model and an actress, yet, without a word, she had become the CEO of Tangkor. A CEO. Does it mean that if I go to work at Tangkor, I'll be able to see Tongning? Wow, my Tang baby has retreated from the industry to become a female CEO. My Ning is amazing. Haha, I've long wanted to see my Ning's professional outfit. At the same time, the netizens were also concerned about whether or not they could successfully resolve the issue of the VIP list being leaked. After all, with Tongning's identity, her every move was bound to receive attention, and any response she gave was bound to be extraordinary. Night slowly arrived. The sky above Beijing was cold and bleak. At this time, Tangkor finally made a move. Tongning had made her move. She wasn't going to hold a press conference, nor was she going to use some vague public relations document. Instead, she did something that no one would have expected. That was, she sent a letter of apology to the VIPs who had been exposed, and sent them a gift. The main idea of the apology letter was that Tangkor did not have a VIP list, and that it was a fake. She was sincerely apologizing to the 20 VIPs for being disturbed and hurt by this incident. In other words, there was no such thing as a VIP list. Tongning's method was to give these VIPs a way out. She was treating this as a beautiful misunderstanding. Not only did she save their pride, she also gained their understanding and stepped out to speak up for Tangkor. Tangkor has always been fair, and would never make such an irresponsible mistake. So everyone, please don't be used by someone with ulterior motives. I did not receive an invitation to the product launch. Another VIP that appeared on the list laughed. To be honest, all I can say is that Tangkor's response this time is extremely beautiful. The person in charge of Tangkor is a beautiful woman. She is so smart, how could she possibly leak the list? Everyone, please don't feel bad. I did not receive an invitation either. With a VIP on the list personally stepping out to explain, the people that weren't invited immediately felt a lot better. So it was all a misunderstanding. So there was no such thing as a VIP list. This was faster and more effective than any PR statement, and more comforting than any words. Like this, the situation began to turn. The angry VIPs did not dare to speak out again. If they did, they would appear to be looking for trouble and narrow-minded people. Since this was all a lie, then they should be showing their tolerance towards Tangkor. Like this, the leak of the VIP list was intercepted by Tongning just as the dam was about to burst. Chapter 510. Of course, Tangkor also released a PR statement. But it was a serious apology for the leaked client list. They also promised to conduct a thorough investigation and protect the client's information. Tongning used a professional attitude to display the seriousness of Tangkor. Her actions once again won the admiration of the VIP clients. She used the method of pleasing 20 people in exchange for a turnaround for Tangkor. And she did it all in one night. So at this moment, whether the VIP list existed or not, no longer mattered. Because Tongning's flawless way of handling matters once again shocked everyone. In fact, she even made everyone sigh. So this was how things could be resolved. Fuck, my Ning's EQ is really amazing. When it comes to resolving a crisis, it's rare to see someone so capable. Haha, let's give Tongning a round of applause. No wonder the chairman of Tangkor kept insisting that Tongning step out of retirement. As expected, the moment she makes a move, the truth will be revealed. I have no other wish in life, I just want to have a brain as smart as Tongning's. I give full marks to Tongning's crisis management. The main thing is Tongning's methods are too likable. At this moment, the internet was filled with praise for Tongning's crisis management. Of course, this included the staff at Tangkor. She handled it beautifully. The third Mrs. Slap has turned the big Mrs. years of hard work into zero. After all, a certain someone has been in Tangkor for so long. Yet she hasn't done a single meaningful thing. Fast, accurate and ruthless. She is indeed the third Miss. Tangkor now has hope. That's great. Tongning's crisis management not only gave Tang Xian a slap in the face, it also gave those that underestimated her a loud slap in the face. So what if they were actors? Apart from quarreling, can you handle things as well as actors? However, this was only the first step of Tongning's plan. Afterwards, all of Tangkor's VIP clients began to receive handwritten letters from staff. The letters were all soaked in the fragrance of the upcoming product. Not only did this make the VIP clients feel better, it also served as a warm-up for the upcoming product launch. Because of the fragrance on the letters, most people forgot about their previous anger and placed their attention on the upcoming product launch. This fragrance was so special. Like this, in just 2 days, not only did Tongning successfully save Tangkor's reputation, she also increased her influence in Beijing and even the entire nation. This was the so-called crisis transformation. At the new meeting of the board of directors, the expressions of all the directors were unnatural. In other words, he was too ashamed to face Tongning. Of course, Tongning couldn't be bothered. I've already met your requirements. Is there anyone else that isn't satisfied with me being the acting CEO? The conference room was dead silent. Very well, I'll take it that you've admitted defeat. Now let's settle the debt. You should have some understanding of it, right? I'm a person who likes to settle scores after the fall. Tongning scanned her eyes across the room and asked her first question. Who leaked the VIP list? Everyone was stunned. Could it be that this matter could be investigated? Don't look at me. This list does exist, but it hasn't been notified to the subordinate departments yet. How did this person have the ability to get his hands on this information? Tongning placed her elbows on the table and crossed her arms. With a calm smile, she continued. I'm sure this person is amongst you, right? Everyone suddenly felt insecure. They didn't know why, but Tongning was obviously younger than them, but she exuded an aura that only Elder Tang should have. The information has been leaked. We could have blocked the news immediately, but who was it that allowed this matter to escalate to such an unmanageable stage? Everyone looked at each other in dismay, as if they were suspicious of each other. Only those who were open and aboveboard were fearless. Okay, let's not talk about this matter for now. I know that all of you still feel that my identity is a disgrace to Tangkor, and that Tang Xian should be the acting CEO. In that case, why don't we let Tang Xian take over the upcoming events and the upcoming product launch? What do you all think? At this moment, the meeting room fell into a strange silence. What? Now that the crisis has been resolved, shouldn't you all be happy? After all, I'm just an entertainer. Not only Tangkor, but the entire public now knew that Tongning had solved the problem as soon as she arrived. Even the collaboration in Switzerland was thanks to Tongning's hard work. How could they still have the face to say that Tongning was just an entertainer that slept with others? After all, I'm just a temporary replacement. You all can vote for whoever you like. After saying this, Tongning did not say another word. It seemed she wanted everyone's reaction. Third Miss Tang, you have a good way of handling things. However, as the board of directors, it is only right for us to question your abilities in order to protect our own interests. It is also your responsibility to solve the company's crisis. Lin Xiaoyuan maintained a calm demeanor from start to finish. Although the big miss isn't capable enough, she is still your sister. Slapping her in front of everyone doesn't seem appropriate for her. Tongning calmed down and sneered. Director Lin, it seems you really want to bring this matter to the surface. What do I have to be afraid of? Lin Xiaoyuan asked. Fine, I'll leave the rest to you. I've never cared about the position of CEO. After speaking, Tongning stood up. At this time, the other board members began to express their opinions. Third Miss Tang, since things have gotten to this point, Tangkor can't do without you. Tongning, don't be stubborn. This is related to everyone's interests. Hearing this, Tongning laughed. Just like you've said, this matter is related to your interests. But what does it have to do with me? I can choose or not to take this position. My actions aren't as natural as you think. Do you think I care about this little bit of power? If you don't give me the respect I deserve, why should I do everything for you? Do you think I have nothing better to do? Everyone, if you think that Tang Xian can bring benefits to you, then go ahead and look for her. I don't care about this position. But if you want me to stay on as a temporary replacement, then please don't tell me how I should treat Tang Xian. You're not me. Tang Xian didn't do what she did to me. Chapter 511. This time, Lin Xiaoyuan fell silent. Tongning wasn't a two-faced person. If she hated or disliked someone, she would directly express it. The two sisters had always been like fire and water, so Tongning didn't need to hide it. Tongning was obviously planning to kick Tang Xian out of Tangkor. In fact, according to her style of doing things, it was very likely that she would completely eliminate them. She would destroy all of Tang Xian's influence in Tangkor. The board of directors couldn't help but be impressed by Tongning's courage. After 2 consecutive victories, they had to acknowledge Tongning's capabilities. So after the meeting ended, Tongning gave the order to fire Tang Xian. She didn't even keep her position as a secretary. Tang Xian stormed into the CEO's office, but Tongning didn't even let her see her back. You won't even let your own sister off. Aren't you afraid of retribution? In the end, Xiao Yuxing was so annoyed that he had no choice but to step out and reply. President Tang said that she has the final say here and that firing you is her right. Tongning, come out and explain yourself. Miss Tang, please go home and focus on your pregnancy. If anything happens to the child in your stomach, we won't be able to take responsibility. Xiao Yuxing stood in front of the office door. Tongning, don't think that you can kick me out of the agency like this. Inside the office, Tongning sat quietly on the sofa with her eyes closed. As for Tang Xian, the fire in her eyes had no intention of letting her off the hook. President Tang, I've already kicked her out. Clean up the people related to Tang Xian. Do what you need to do. Tongning said calmly with her eyes closed. Xiao Yuxing nodded his head and let out a sigh of relief. I hope Tangkor will have peace from now on. Peace. Hearing this word, Tongning stood up and smiled. Tang Xian still has a bargaining chip, the child in her stomach. By the way, did you really think that the leak of the VIP list was planned by Tang Xian on her own? President Tang, are you saying? Let's call it a day. Focus on preparing for the product launch. Tongning stopped halfway through her sentence. They were both smart people, so there were some things that didn't need to be too direct. Just like that, Tongning quickly took control of Tangkor. Because of these two beautiful victories, she moved from being on the front page of the entertainment newspaper to appearing on the business section. The only thing that worried Tongning was that it would become harder and harder to hide her pregnancy. After all, the baby in her belly was getting bigger and bigger. In an instant, everyone knew that Tang Xian had been kicked out of Tangkor. This was the second time Tang Xian had been kicked out. The first time was by Elder Tang, but this time, it was Tongning. Tang Xian's reputation had already spread far and wide. Everyone originally thought that after experiencing the ups and downs of life, she would change for the better. But, seeing how decisively Tang Ning had kicked her out of Tangkor, they realized that everyone was well aware of the truth. After all, it was easier to change a leopard than a leopard. As soon as Elder Tang heard that Tang Xian had been kicked, he immediately put down the fishing rod in his hands. He thought to himself it was over. He was about to face a difficult opponent when he returned home. Xiao Ning, couldn't you have been a little gentler? But for the sake of the baby in Tang Xian's stomach, Elder Tang weighed the pros and cons, and decided to pack his things and return home. But as Assistant Lung parked his car in front of the Tang family home, he found Tang Xian kneeling on the ground, completely drenched. Assistant Lung, hurry. Elder Tang gestured for Assistant Lung to hold up an umbrella for Tang Xian. Assistant Lung seemed to have expected a scene like this as he calmly held up the black umbrella over Tang Xian's head. What are you doing? Why are you abusing your body for no reason? Do you still have the manners of a mother? Elder Tang pulled Tang Xian up from the ground. Come home with me. Grandfather. In your heart, do I always fall short of Tongning? Tang Xian asked with a pale face. Although she was putting on an act, at this time, she was filled with anger and unwillingness. Come home with me first. Elder Tang dragged Tang Xian into the house, and instructed the maids to help her into her room to wash up. Chairman, I'm afraid this incident isn't over yet, Assistant Lung said as he watched Tang Xian leave. Of course I know it's not over. Elder Tang put down his walking stick inside. But I understand Xiao Ning's decision. Tangkor should have been cleaned up a long time ago. What should we do now? Apart from comforting her, what else can we do? After speaking, Elder Tang followed Tang Xian into the bedroom. After changing into a set of comfortable clothes, he knocked on the door and entered Tang Xian's room. At this moment, Tang Xian was standing dangerously on the edge of the balcony. Xiao Xian, come here. What do you want this time? Grandfather, I'm now divorced and I don't have a home. Even when I go to work, I get kicked out. What's the point of me living? Plus, I was kicked out by my own sister. Does Tongning not care about our sisterhood? Elder Tang thought to himself. When you schemed against Xiao Ning, did you ever think that you were her sister? Just tell me, what do you want? Elder Tang did not want to beat around the bush. After all, he was the one who would be put in a difficult position in the end. I want to split the family assets. My shares and the money that I deserve after working so hard for the Tang family for so many years. She wanted to split the family assets. She wanted to take things from the Tang family. It seemed she wanted to set up her own business. Come here first. Let's talk things over. Elder Tang took the opportunity to grab onto Tang Xian's wrist and pull her to safety. I know you feel that Xiao Ning is being too ruthless. But Xiao Xian, tell me, have you ever done anything wrong to Xiao Ning? Logically speaking, she would never be so ruthless. Tang Xian was good at lying. How could she possibly tell the truth? Grandfather, although we have fought for so many years, I wouldn't go so far as to backstab someone. How about this? Let's talk about this after Tangkor's product launch is over, okay? Elder Tang comforted carefully. During this time, you will have to bear with it. Grandfather, it's not that I'm going overboard, but the Tang family no longer has a place for me. I understand. Hurry and get some rest. You will also need to attend Tangkor's product launch. Don't forget, you are also a part of the Tang family. Grandfather, am I still a part of the Tang family? After saying this, Tang Xian returned to her bed and covered herself tightly with the blankets. Meanwhile, Elder Tang thought to himself, "We only acknowledge the child in your stomach." Chapter 512. Shares and child were the only bargaining chips Tang Xian had left. She had been forced into a dead end by Tongning. Late at night, around the corner of the Tang family villa, Tang Xian boarded an inconspicuous black car and said to the people inside, "There are cameras everywhere. What if we get caught?" "How does Elder Tang treat you?" Lin Xiaoyuan asked as he took a puff of his cigarette. "On the surface, he treats me well, but in reality, he's always biased towards Tongning." The unyielding Tang Xian suddenly broke down and burst into tears. "You've already reached this point. What's the point of crying?" Lin Xiaoyuan replied calmly, "I'm already at my wit's end." "How could you be at your wit's end? You still have shares and the child in your stomach. It's obvious that Elder Tang is quite fearful of the child in your stomach." "What can I do? I'm currently tied down by Tongning and can't do anything." Lin Xiaoyuan suddenly turned his head and looked at Tang Xian. Through the thin lenses of his glasses, his eyes were dark like obsidian with a cold glint. "The biggest difference between you and Tongning is that Tongning likes to keep a low profile. She always observes her surroundings and grabs the right opportunity to succeed. Yet, you can't keep your cool at all." This was something that Tang Xian was well aware of. However, there were a lot of times that she didn't want to admit that over the years, she had tried her best to be better than Tongning, but she had never succeeded. At this moment, Lin Xiaoyuan suddenly calmed down. He then pulled out a cigarette from his pocket and lit it. The red dot on the cigarette was eye-catching and strange in the dark night. "So you have no other choice. Focus on your pregnancy and wait for the right opportunity. During this time, I will be responsible for training you. Tongning is constantly evolving. There's no reason for you to stay where you are and not improve. You will also be attending Tangkor's product launch, right? This time, don't let Tongning outshine you again." To reduce the chances of being exposed in front of the public, Tongning had no intention of attending the product launch. But thinking about the restless Tang Xian, Tongning decided it was necessary for her to appear on stage. Of course, she had to do it without anyone knowing. Her patience was about to run out. This time, Tang Xian did not use the child as a bargaining chip. It was obvious, she had not reached the end of her rope. However, for some reason, Tongning was suddenly reminded of something Mo Ting had previously said. Mo Ting had once said that he wanted to see Tang Xian and his child separated. At this moment, she actually wanted to see Tang Xian's expression. "Recently, I don't even need to make a phone call to know about you. Please, you're going to be famous throughout the 3 realms." It wasn't easy for Long Jie to make a trip to Hyatt Regency to see Tongning. Just like she said, it was a piece of cake for her to find out about Tongning. Tongning smiled but did not say a word. "Have you really decided to take over Tangkor and stop acting?" "Of course not." Tongning looked at Long Jie with deep meaning. Long Jie froze for a moment before laughing. "I heard you kicked Tang Xian out of Tangkor." "Yes, this is my motive for joining Tangkor." "You're black-bellied, black-bellied. You're already a mother. Can't you be more gentle?" Speaking of being a mother, Tongning subconsciously looked towards Long Jie's stomach. She was well aware that every time Long Jie saw her, her heart would ache. "I'm fine, don't worry." Long Jie saw through Tongning's thoughts and shrugged her shoulders. "As long as Lu Che is on my side, I have confidence." "You are still young. Tongning, you don't understand." Long Jie suddenly took a deep breath. "It's not because Lu Che's parents don't treat me well. It's because they treat me too well. With so many eyes on you, you feel pressured." "Has Lu Che gone for a medical examination?" Tongning suddenly asked. "Yes, the doctor said there was no problem." "Then the time has not come yet." "Probably." Long Jie nodded her head as she reminded herself not to let Lu Che see her listless expression. "So, will you be attending Tangkor's product launch?" Tongning shook her head. "There's no need." "Are you going to let Tang Xian take the lead?" In reality, Tang Xian wasn't planning to cause trouble at the product launch. Instead, someone else was. Tongning did not say a word and Long Jie also kept her mouth shut. Tang Cor's product launch was about to take place in Beijing. This time, it received a lot of attention. This was because the Tang family had produced two famous people. Apart from Tang Ning, there was also Tang Jing and Xian Luoxing, who had a large number of fans. Of course, he wasn't going to be stingy when it came to his own family's perfume launch. Ever since the incident with Xia Jingyi, he had been busy with work. However, during this time where he didn't even have time to sleep, he began to pay attention to one person, his manager Song Yanshu. Song Yanshu had a one-sided crush on him. This was something the entire world knew about. After all, Song Yanshu had announced it in a high-profile manner. But in real life, Song Yanshu was an experienced manager that cared for him. But she only cared about him as a friend. I've already prepared a gown for you to wear for the product launch. It's hanging in the closet. As for the shoes, you can wear whatever you like. Tang Jingxian looked at Song Yanshu in a daze. After quite some time, he finally snapped out of his daze. Will Sister 3 be attending? Ning Jia has a lot of things to consider. I'm not sure if she'll attend, Song Yanshu replied. Yanshu, will you get married and have kids in the future? Tang Jingxian suddenly asked. Of course I will, Song Yanshu replied naturally. Tang Jingxian suddenly froze as he let out a dry laugh. I simply feel a little uncomfortable without you around. I will take care of you until the day you become an international superstar. At that time, you will no longer remember a tiny manager like me, Song Yanshu smiled. At that time I will retire. Why don't you choose to share the glory with me? I'll just watch over you. After speaking, Song Yanshu picked up her handbag from the sofa and turned to leave the apartment that Tang Jingxian had recently bought. However, Song Yanshu's words continued to echo in Tang Jingshuan's ears. If Song Yanshu left him the day he became a superstar, then why did he want to become one? Tang Jingxian gave himself a fright when this thought popped up in his mind. But this was indeed what he thought. If he could keep Song Yanshu by his side, even if he didn't become an international superstar, he still had his value. Chapter 513. Tang Cor's product launch was just around the corner, but the public had yet to receive confirmation that Tang Ning would be attending. After resolving the issue with the leaked VIP guest list, Tang Ning once again disappeared. Even as the acting CEO, she rarely made an appearance. Even the staff of Tang Cor rarely had the chance to see her. 3 p.m. At the Crown Star Hotel, where Tang Cor was about to begin their product launch, guests continued to stream into the specially prepared waiting rooms. But Tang Ning was nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, inside one of the waiting rooms, Tang Xian had already changed into a gown and was sitting in front of her makeup table. Beside her stood Lin Xiaoyuan and the makeup artist. Both of them looked at Tang Xian carefully. Mr. Lin, you're ready. The makeup artist put down her tools and retreated behind Lin Xiaoyuan. Lin Xiaoyuan looked at Tang Xian calmly. The person in the mirror was no longer the beautiful Rose she once was. Her makeup was elegant and her expression was gentle. She looked like a completely different person from the usual Tang Xian. Remember what I said. Smile more and don't talk too much. Lin Xiaoyuan was well aware of the process of the product launch. Of course, he also knew that Tang Ning had a unique design for the appearance of Tang Cor's new perfume. So, he had someone tamper with that part of the event. Although Tang Ning did not make an appearance, it was because she wanted to be the finale. After all, she used to be a model. How could she miss out on an event like this? But Lin Xiaoyuan was wrong. The reason why Tang Ning did not make an appearance was because she never cared about gimmicks. She sat with the guests and entered the venue early. On top of that, she had to keep a low profile so she wouldn't attract any attention. Below the stage, Tang Ning and Mo Ting were already seated in a relatively secluded area. Mo Ting wore a hat to protect Tang Ning. From the way they were dressed, they looked like staff. Are you really not going on stage? Mo Ting whispered into his wife's ear. Tang Cor's grand event was planned by Tang Ning. Although he was used to Tang Ning keeping a low profile, he still didn't want her credit to be taken away by others. The baby is important, Tang Ning replied as she rubbed her stomach. When have I ever cared about this little bit of vanity? Mo Ting smiled gently without saying a word. Reality proved that the more capable a person was, the more they kept a low profile. In fact, Tongning was no longer lacking in praise and applause. As for the other members of the Tang family, ever since Tang Xian told Elder Tang that they were going to separate from the family, they suddenly became more well-behaved. They no longer caused a ruckus and their moods became calm. Elder Tang found it more and more difficult to understand Tang Xian's temper. Deep down, he had a feeling that Tang Xian only had so many tricks up her sleeves, because there was someone giving her ideas behind the scenes. Previously, it was Mother Zhong, but now who was it? Soon, celebrities from all walks of life entered the venue. There were also some celebrities that were invited. After walking the red carpet, they took their seats. Of course, the Crown Star Hotel was filled with fans from all over the country. Most of them were the little cuties from Tongning and Luoxing, twinkling like a star, radiating boundless light. Luoxing, you're so handsome. We all support you and support the Tang family's perfume. The rest of the Tang family will be attending, but what about my Ning? It's such an important occasion. Don't tell me he won't show up? Outside, the fans were already in a heated discussion. As per Tongning's request, the hotel provided a place for the fans to avoid the cold. They couldn't let anyone catch a cold, and tried their best to protect the fans from the cold. As a member of Tang Corps, not only Tang Jingxian, even Tang Yichen put down her work and rushed over to attend the annual new product launch. So below the VIP stage, the handsome men and beautiful women from the Tang family were already seated in a row. Even the recently kicked out Tang Xian was dressed to the nines. However, the person in charge, Tongning, was nowhere to be seen. This surprised the guests. They originally thought they would be able to catch a glimpse of Tongning. Soon, on the grand and luxurious stage, the MC began to introduce the guests. Inside the packed hall, successful people from all walks of life were gathered. They were filled with anticipation and curiosity towards Tang Corps' new product. Why isn't Xiao Ning here? While the MC was speaking, Tang Yichen turned and asked Tang Jingxian, isn't she going to attend such an important event? I'm not sure. Tang Jingxian shook his head. After all, it was impossible for him to guess what Tongning was thinking. Plus, Tang Xian was sitting beside them. Tang Jingshuan's gaze swept across Tang Xian and he scoffed. Tang Yichen understood what Tang Jingxian was thinking, so she nudged him. You should at least give grandfather some face. Don't cause trouble at an event like this. Tang Jingxian did not say a word and Tang Yichen calmed down. Meanwhile, beside them, Tang Xian smiled like nothing had happened. She looked at the stage like an elegant socialite. Today is the day of Tang Corps' annual new product launch. As a perfume family, Tang Corps has been perfuming the city, the country and even the world for many years. Before we unveil the new member of Tang Corps' perfume family, let us first invite our chairman, Elder Tang, to give a speech. Dressed in a white suit, Elder Tang looked energetic and heroic as he walked onto the stage with the help of his walking stick. He then turned to the guests and said, "This will be my last time attending Tang Corps' new product launch. The world has already fallen into the hands of the younger generation." The younger guests did not share Elder Tang's sentiments, so they whispered amongst themselves, "I only see Tang Xian. Is Tongning here because she's avoiding us?" To be honest, apart from her brain, Tang Xian is quite beautiful. Look at all the guests here. How many have her elegance? Of course, that's assuming she doesn't say a word. I bet you don't know about this? Tongning is her nemesis. Think about it, Tongning's legs are known as one of the top 10 most beautiful legs in the world. If Tongning appears today, Tang Xian will probably be forgotten in the corner. As Tang Xian listened to the discussions behind her, she gritted her teeth and endured the jealousy and anger in her stomach. Tongning is indeed outstanding. No matter what industry she's in, she's always able to perform so well. Keep it down. She's indeed better than the one in front. Behind her, the mockery and ridicule did not stop, but Tang Xian did not say a single word from start to finish. Why do you keep it down? Are you afraid that she'll hear you? Which part of my words isn't the truth? Enough. Tang Xian couldn't take it anymore, as she stood up from her seat. However, her actions obviously disrupted the ongoing new product launch. Everyone, I have something to say. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.